everybody. We are the Skyns podcast. I am Kyle Ingram, aka
welcome.
Kingram, and this is
Nikita, also known as La Namra on social media.
Yeah, so go follow us there. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We need all them subscribers. We got a new channel. We have one music video up and one podcast. This is episode 2.
Episode 2.
We're hype. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. So what's going on? What were you watching this week? What you thinking about this week?
This week we watched the Grammys.
We did.
That was
interesting,
especially in the time of Corona.
It was
watching
the Grammys unlike any other.
Yeah. Watching how everybody's like outside, the masks, the social distancing. This was also
the blackest Grammys I've ever seen.
Yes, very woke.
You know what else was interesting about this Grammys? The viewership was lower than any other year.
I wonder why that is.
Probably
what
because
do you think
I told you when that black country singer came out with that, and I like the song. No, don't get me wrong, I liked it. But I told you, all them white people in the middle of the country is like, turning this off.
I said that.
Country music. This ain't country music. You just said, do your country accent.
Yeah. No, I don't have one.
You did. No, when you said it, you had one.
I can't do that. No, we're not doing that on a podcast.
He was like, oh, this ain't my country music.
This ain't country. This is not a country that I know.
That's what she said. This ain't the country that I know. Yeah, but I knew that when they did that, it was over.
Yeah, for sure. I knew the TVs were going to get turned off once she started singing. Especially, she was saying, what was her song? Black Like Me.
Black Like Me as a country song for the Grammys. That's
they weren't having it.
That was. I liked it though. I liked it. Say it. But when I was watching, I was thinking, white people ain't gonna like it, and sure enough,
and then it just got blacker and blacker and blacker.
And then, so what stood out to you about the show?
To me, Cardi and Megan, when their performance came up, I was like, oh, these think pieces tomorrow about to be off the chain.
You did call it.
Yes, I didn't read any of them because I was like, why? And we were having our own argument.
So,
and
what's
not
interesting?
Us too, but
right. There's definitely a generational gap with the idea of what is an okay performance and what is okay for what can represent black culture.
Right.
Like this is what I was recognizing with I keep my Facebook open pretty much, and a lot of my dad worked in music. If you don't know Butch Ingram, Google him. But a lot of his friends are my friends on Facebook because they watched me grow up or whatever. So I'm looking at their response, and even people that worked in entertainment and you wouldn't think are super conservative, that all that booty jiggling was getting to them. It was like
as soon as the booties, I was like, oh, the think pieces tomorrow about to be off the hook.
But these
people
really
about
funny,
to be bothered.
You know who else is bothered by that? You know who hates WAP and Megan Thee Stallion songs? Niggas be mad. Niggas love to watch it, but they be mad at them songs. And that's a fascinating thing to me.
And it's interesting because not all rap songs, but what we have been hearing for the last how many ever decades in rap has been very misogynistic, is objectified women, very hypersexual, something with dick, if I could say that. Beat that out. I don't know. But
me beep it out? I'm editing, so I don't know who you're talking to.
You get all that, and there's all this empowerment around sex for men, which is, objectifying and just using women. So why is there such an issue now when the tables are turned?
I'm the wrong person to ask because I enjoy it. I think it's interesting to hear. I don't personally see any problem. I find myself arguing with dudes who think like yo, this is terrible. They glorifying stripper and finessing, and it's like arguments. Well, everybody else is glorifying finessing women and buying women, and it's the other side of the coin, right? Y'all don't like it when women they don't
like a taste of their own medicine,
but it's a power structure thing, right? Like all of that is anytime any group feels like they're losing some kind of power, they're upset. And dudes feel like they're, they just don't like to hear it, I guess. It'd be real, though.
But it's so interesting because it's like, why can't women have these conversations about sex?
First of all, I want to know what you thought about the performance because I thought the critique was wrong.
They should have actually been critiquing the actual performance.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I thought Megan did great.
Megan's lit.
Yeah. Her choreography, she's on point with her dancing. She comes in on time. Cardi was struggling a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And
that's where the critique should have been. It's like, Cardi, what is you dancing on?
Yeah, I felt like you could see two different levels in terms of being a full spectrum, like
also,
holistic artist, dancing and moving and whatever.
Interestingly enough, though, Cardi's the larger artist, which again goes to show you that it's not necessarily about talent or dancing. It's about branding.
Right.
Cardi's brand is stronger.
And that isn't to say that Cardi isn't good.
No. I like everything. I love her brand. I love her authenticity.
Right.
That's just not her strong suit. Like, everybody can't do everything.
Right. So she did, I don't know if it was the outfit or whatever. She didn't look particularly comfortable with the movement in that outfit per se. I've seen her do better in other performances, other live performances. So to me, this wasn't really her best performance.
I think it's weird to perform I think it's probably super difficult to perform at that level with that amount with no audience.
And also, we don't know what was happening in her earpiece or if the music was on time or whatever.
You get hype from the crowd. Like, you get energy from the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up that level of energy. Like, I know there was some people there because you could hear them, but there wasn't no packed house. You can't have a packed house.
Could you hear them? Because everywhere they're playing audio.
Yeah, it could have just been audio noise. Like,
the NBA, everywhere else is.
I think with sports it's a little bit easier to get into it, right? Because
y'all already have that mindset.
Well, it's not even just the mindset. Like, you get it becomes competitive against, like, even when you're playing in big arenas. And for y'all who don't know, I played college basketball, a little semi-pro basketball, so I played a lot of different. Like, I always reference everything with sports. But even when you're playing in a big arena where there's a lot of people there, at some point you lock in on the game. Like, you check everybody else out and you're just playing the game. But when you're performing, the game is the energy between you and the audience. Like, that's where the synergy comes from. And when there's no audience, it's hard to keep that energy up.
Which takes me back a little bit to the Super Bowl performance. What's his name?
The Weeknd.
The Weeknd, right? That was interesting. But
it was interesting. But people trying to trash the The Weeknd is fire. I'm gonna just say that. That's I think that it something missed the mark in terms of translation because I didn't understand. I didn't know until after the fact. Listen to this. It's the only thing I'm gonna say about The Weeknd. The Weeknd has somehow made Coke music pop music.
So this is what I didn't understand with the performance. Apparently, the performance was a look at his whole experience, with addiction and drugs and whatever, his whole life story.
Right.
That didn't translate with, at least not to me. I didn't get that.
But that's kind of his brand though, right? Like, all his, like, I Can't Feel My Face is not a love song. That's about drugs, y'all.
Love is a drug, Kyle.
Nah, he's not talking about love he's talking about drugs. Glass Table Girls. That's not girls on. That's Coke. That's Coke, my baby. Hi. That's what he does. So but he always finds weird ways to bring people into his world.
Very creative.
Without blatantly saying it. And the Super Bowl performance was a masterpiece of that expansion of that brand of creativity. Like,
of course, when you look at it that way, then yes, it makes sense. If that is his,
he's getting Nickelodeon awards for Coke songs. Think about this. These kids is like, I love The Weeknd. He's getting slimed for a Cokehead song. There's genius in that. But anyway, back to the also, while we're on The Weeknd, how y'all Grammys? Come on, how y'all not nominate this man?
Yeah,
Blinding Lights is still top 10 on Billboard.
Yeah,
this has been the longest running album of all time on Billboard. No one's had that many hit singles off one album ever and had them been on there this long. And that's not up for album of the year. That's not up for record of the year. He don't got song of the year, nothing. The man has no Grammy nominations. And I know the Grammys is trying to do better and trying to be. It was a super, like, all the picks were so woke. Some of them I don't even think were right. Like, y'all.
Who wasn't right?
Nas got a Lifetime Achievement Award. Nas should have been had a Grammy, but his album was not better than Freddie Gibbs.
Freddie Gibbs not nominated?
No, he was nominated. Jay Electronica was nominated. Jay Electronica, Freddie Gibbs nominated, and Nas won for King's Disease was cool. It wasn't Alfredo.
Right.
How long have I been playing? You used to be sick of it.
Yes.
You'd be like, Freddie Gibbs again? Yeah. Freddie went crazy.
Day after
and
day after day.
I'm a Jay Elect fan. Jay Elect's my guy, but I still think it should be for the best project for that year. I hate like when you retroactively give awards.
So this also begs the question, right? Like as an artist watching the Grammys and also being aware of that the accolade isn't always fairly given, right, per se. Like how do you perceive that? Like what is your approach to processing that?
I'm be super real here with my experience with the Grammys. It is difficult to watch as an artist, because so there's multiple reasons. One, and you fight yourself because part of you knows that this is kind of a rigged game. Yeah. Like they don't award fairly. It's not necessarily based on the product. There's so many other parts that are. It's the connection. It's it's the timing. There's so many things that go into it. It's a vote. Like and the process isn't. I mean, you can participate and. I know people that work with local Grammy chapters and all. I know people that do that stuff, but it just still seems so far away as an artist, and it can be sometimes when I watch the Grammys, it can send me spiraling a little bit because I feel like, even though I know all that, I still want to get there.
Right.
Like if you're gonna be honest with yourself, you still like that's what you grew up watching. All your heroes you had. They got Grammys. They were at least at the awards.
And both things can be true. Like you can critique
right.
the establishment and still, as a personal goal or whatever,
right.
want that achievement.
Right. And you can understand that for a long time the Grammys were racist, but you still feel like you still want that level of achievement. Now the thing with me particularly is it just sometimes feels so far away. Like you look at that and you look at what you're doing and you look at the struggles that you're having as an independent artist and you're like, am I ever going to get there? Mm-hmm. Is it possible? It's definitely possible. But it can seem impossible when you watch it. Yeah. Like I can rationalize, I could plot out how how it's possible to get there. But there's a million people trying to get there. And sometimes it just feels like, dang, I might not ever know what that's like. And that can be disheartening. And I don't think a lot, like, when I look at Facebook, because I'm friends with a lot of artists, so I look at their IG, everyone puts this hopeful spin on it. It's like, I'm gonna be there next year, or even people that I know were like they were background singers, and people that worked on awards, like next year it's gonna be my award. Next year that's gonna be my show, and I love that because I do the same thing. But somewhere in the back of there is that little bit of doubt, and I think we have to acknowledge that, like.
Make room for all of it.
Yeah, you have to be real because realistically, sometimes when I watch those award shows, I'm like, yo. And me, part of me is just like, I don't even care. But I do care.
You do.
I do care because I do want that. Like, I do want to be recognized with some of the best people that are in the industry. Because there is a level of respect that comes with even being nominated, even being there.
Right.
And I think that would be cool. I think it's something that, I still aspire to. But yeah, when I watch the show, I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I'm sure that is conflicting for a lot of artists watching it.
Right.
Especially Black artists who feel like we don't always get our due.
Like I was dumb hype to see Flying Lotus and Thundercat win. Because I've been watching Flying Lotus since 2004. Like Flying Lotus been making music since 2004. And I first heard his beats on Adult Swim. And now to see him producing one of the albums or alternative R&B for the year with Thundercat, and to watch him, he built his own label up, like his Brain Feeder Records that Thundercat's a part of, and he kind of carved out his own lane. And to me, that's so inspiring. Like those are the wins. And when he won, like it was on IG, like they hugged each other. There was an embrace. They didn't think they felt like me, like that's not the place for them. Like that establishment would never recognize their art. That, they had to make their own lane to even get their fan base or get recognized. but that can still turn into this mainstream level of success if you just keep grinding and doing your thing. And those are the stories that, you know, keep me going. Anderson .Paak is another one who won. Yeah, Kate Trinata. Like, there was a lot of big
what I loved
wins.
about Kate Trinata winning was that all the people that he collaborated to, it was like
everybody
they came up.
Right, and you know what's funny about Kate Trinata? So I know some of the guys that were on the scene with him, that worked with him, and they said SoundCloud won a Grammy. Like, all the SoundCloud producers were hyped for Kate Trinata because that's where he got his start from.
Right.
Like, before SoundCloud it's more corporate now. Now when it was the Wild West of music, like there was some pockets that was lit, and Kate was one of the dudes that was out there making that fire.
Yeah.
And he's another one, carved the lane, found a space, and eventually won a Grammy. So, like, when I say that, I know it's possible, but when you're looking at that, you know, sometimes it feels like, dang. And especially when you've been trying for years and you put things out and it doesn't hit like you want, like it can be disheartening. But, you know, Anderson .Paak used to be Breezy Lovejoy. Like, I don't know if y'all probably don't know that, but I've been following his career for a long time. I watched the changes he made, and, you know, to see him now, you know, he put an album out with Bruno Mars, like one of the biggest pop stars. Like, anything can happen. The truth is, anything can happen. But sometimes when you look at that, you just feel like, wow, can that happen for me, though? And I think that's the conversation that artists don't always get to have, because we're supposed to be up all the time. You know, like, social media wants you to be up all the time.
That's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
You're human.
Yeah. But, you know, so I wanted to say that publicly because I feel like that is a conversation. We got to start talking about that side of it too. I mean, you know, there's a reason that a lot of artists, you know, take their lives early. There's a reason that, you know, in the past couple of years, I've known a few people who were artists that I knew pretty closely, and you know, they're not here anymore. And part of it is a little bit of that, like the pressure, the stress, the pressure to stay up, the pressure to continue to create, even though your creations aren't being recognized or there's no fruit to it. And you know it's good, and the people around you know it's good, but you can't seem to find a kind of breakthrough, and you can't figure it out. That can be super frustrating.
I think this is me coming from a meditation point of view. I think it's important as well for people to have their own definition of success versus what society is saying or what it looks like at the Grammys or whatever. Right. Because, and the other thing is measuring your impact. And we've talked about this before, is like, numbers is okay. You could fudge those a little bit. We see that all the time. Yeah. Influencers online are like, we are living in an age where numbers are like a smoke mirror kind of thing. Right. But the impact that you have, you cannot necessarily measure that in numbers. Right. When somebody messages you and say, yo, this song that you made really got me through a hard time or whatever, and I was at this low in my life, or, you know, all that, that's impact. Right. You know, so I think that you kind of have to recalibrate a little bit. And I think it's a journey of recalibrating sometimes what success is for you as you progress, as you grow, as you become more successful.
I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody said that the things that the landmarks that they were looking at have shifted. Like, the dream didn't change, but the way it's coming up. Like, I said this the other day when I was looking at Dune, Dune, not Doom, because people always thought I'm talking about Doom. Dune, the movie, that's always been one of my stories, like my favorite stories. And I was so hyped about the movie coming out, and they had to push it back. And now it's coming out directly to HBO Max. Like, a lot of films are coming out directly to HBO Max. I don't know what the future is going to hold as a filmmaker, because that's another thing I do, is make films. I'm a storyteller. And I always had this idea that we'd have big premieres and these film festivals, and people would watch my movie in a movie theater. But I don't even know if that's...
We may get back to that in maybe 5 to 7 years, but it probably won't be the same way.
Yeah, it won't be the same way that I grew up with. Or imagine, you know, there's a generation of people who thought, like, yo, it'd be so cool to go rent my own film from Blockbuster. Right. Can't do that no more. Like, so the point I'm making is, you have to shift with the times and the technology.
Right. And right now, technology is king, and that's like ruling everything. Our entire lives right now is technology based for the most part.
So another thing that we wanted to talk about was how music and technology they're blending in a way. So first, they've always been blended.
Right.
I think there's always been a blend of technology and music in a way that most people aren't aware of, right? Like one of the reasons that the Beatles is the highest selling groups for records of all time is just the timing. They came at a time where there was a fever pitch around them, but also albums were just becoming a thing. Like everything was singles before that. You could only buy a single, and they took. Go ahead.
In case y'all don't know, he is like a wealth of facts and knowledge when it comes to music history and knowledge. So continue to nerd out.
Yeah. So the main point is that they started making this album format so that it wasn't just singles. It was
right.
Now, another shift happens. They come out with the long player, then they come out with a tape cassette or CD. All of this changed the music industry and how they were marketing, how you could sell. Now, when they got rid of CDs and you're selling, like now it's streams, everything's streaming, industry still hasn't really figured out how to monetize that for all of the artists and songwriters and everything. And it's still a little bit up in the air. But what's happening is these tech companies, Spotify, Apple, Triller, they are TikTok. Figuring out, TikTok. They're figuring out that the value of their app really is based on the value of the creators. And the way it's always how it is, those who are wealthy get wealthier. So like, Jay-Z was early in the game. He kind of recognizes he bought Tidal, and he made Tidal a streaming platform. And then he brokered a deal recently with Square. So, Square is Jack Dorsey, who owns Twitter. But, also like Cash App. And now Square wants to do a thing where the mission of Tidal was to give artists a little bit more, like that's the highest payout you can get in terms of streaming. They want to be artist friendly. They want to represent artists. So I'm very curious to see how Square is going to revolutionize that. But they bought Jay-Z out and put him on the board because their idea is that they want to value the creators. Now, over the pandemic, I'm pretty sure people that are watching this watch Verzuz. Timbaland and Swizz Beatz. If you really watch that, it was organic.
Yes, it started organic. It started as a space for people to.
It didn't even start as that. It started as them just having a beat battle over IG Live.
True.
Like
that is correct.
They called each other on IG Live and was in the car. Like Swizz Beatz ran to his car and was like, "Yo, I got more beats than you." That's how Verzuz. That's the most organic. This is hip hop in the flesh. The story of Verzuz is a story of hip hop in a year, basically. These two dudes say, I got better beats than you. I got more hits." Then it turned into, well, we should have other people come on and do their hits. Then it turned into, well, let's put this big show together where we have a stage in the studio. Right. And then they sold it to Triller, and they became owners in the larger Triller platform. The dopest thing about this deal is that everyone that was a part of the Verzuz battles from the beginning also gets a point, they get some percentage points. Now, the deals haven't, I don't know what the numbers are. They haven't released all that information yet. But they did say that they are part owners of Triller and that everyone that was a part of it was owners. The main thing is Triller recognized the value in this space for creators, and they wanted to bring them in. NFTs, that's the new.
What are NFTs, Kyle?
Non-fungible. What's the word, Ryan? What's it? Tokens, non-fungible tokens. So that is another form of currency that is very popular with artists. And if you are a creator, you should look into it. It runs on Ethereum right now, which is a cryptocurrency. And
crypto, man.
So here's the overarching point. If you are a creator and artist, you have to be aware of the technology that's going on. You have to be aware of new ways to innovate, because if you get in early enough, you can win that landscape. You can win on that field and set yourself up. And you should just be aware, even if it doesn't work for you, you should know what's going on, because there is a marriage of technology and creation and art and music that you just have to know, especially now more than ever, because there's not as much money being put out to the creator unless you're on the back end side.
Right.
Like, you have to be on the back end side.
Yeah. You got to own your own stuff.
You got to own your own stuff. And you want to partner with the people that are owning other stuff.
And compensating fairly.
Yeah. Yeah. Understanding compensation is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But, it's a crazy world as an artist. And I think a lot of times people don't understand how you can live as an artist. How do you make money as an artist? There's a lot of ways to make money.
Right.
There's a lot of different things. Like attention is currency, right? Attention is a form of currency in the modern age. If you have attention, you can make money. There's a lot of ways to make money. But the problem is, how do you get attention? How do you find your audience? How do you reach your niche? What is your niche? I'll tell you what I don't believe in. I don't believe that all attention is good.
It certainly isn't, Tekashi.
Right. As I predicted, that would fall flat. I think you can. There's ways to get, and you don't want everyone's attention. You don't want all of it. You don't need all of it. You need to find.
You just need to find your niche.
You need to find your niche
and
your
work
tribe
it.
And your people. And there's a lot of really good examples of that, and that's hopefully what we're doing here.
Freddie Gibbs.
Freddie Gibbs is a perfect example. Freddie Gibbs is an artist that he started with 2 Chainz, and he got dropped from that label. He was a duffel bag boy, I believe, one of them guys, and he's a little bit older. Like,
wasn't it he who said he just wants to make enough to support his family? Yeah. Wasn't it him?
Maybe I don't
know. I
he
think it was him who said that.
He probably changed his ambitions.
Probably, but he was able to do that and then some because he found his niche, found a way that worked for him.
Freddie Gibbs and the whole Griselda gang are really interesting cases because people said that rap was a young man's game. That was always the story. And, I don't consider myself, I have rapped. I've been part of a hip hop group. I've never considered myself a rapper because I do so many other things. And I was never like super competitive with the rap like that. Like,
right.
I think rap can be competitive, which I like. I know rap. I know hip hop music. I just, I find myself more in a Pharrell type space than as a rapper. But I understand rap, right? So they always said that rap was a young man's game. But with the way music is going and the way everything's going, there is anyone's game. If you
Anybody's
can find
game.
your audience, and that's true for all music. If you can find your audience, you can, you can thrive. You can do your thing.
Well, we are finding our audience.
Yeah.
And
if you're our audience, hit the subscribe button right now.
And give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up, comment. Let me know.
And subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening, of course.
I did want to hop back, though. I wanted to hop back to because I feel like we didn't get deep enough on the Cardi and Meg performance. And why does that bother niggas?
I cannot
Ryan,
speak
Ryan,
on behalf
you listen to Meg and the Whip?
Of Negroes. I can't speak on behalf of men.
No? Kevo, you listen to Meg the Stallion and the Whip?
If it's on the radio, I'll listen to it. I don't have to turn it off.
Do you turn it on?
I'll listen to it.
Paul said no. Jay, you listen to it?
I don't turn it on. Like if it's on I'm not seeking it. I'm not gonna go to my place and play Meg or Cardi B.
City Girls?
Never.
Never the
City Girls be bumping. What? How about Doja?
I don't feel that energy.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Saweetie.
Tell me what you mean about that energy. What do you mean you don't feel that energy? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan said you don't feel that
Ryan
energy.
got the bread sitting over here. Different place of what? What is the different place?
Yeah, Ryan, come in here.
Already?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get your perspective on this. This is Ryan Got the Bread, our producer. Shout out to the Mansa Media crew. We got a lot of people helping produce this show with us.
I'll just be off camera.
Yeah, you don't got to be on the camera. You can sit here the whole time.
Okay. What's the Inquisition?
No, we just want to know how you feel about
what is this different perspective?
What's the
female
energy?
perspective?
What's the different energy?
Feminine energy.
What's the problem with that?
I don't have that.
Now, see, this is interesting, right? Now, when you listen to male hip hop, or actually, what's even crazier? I don't know how many of y'all listen to she's been putting me on all this dancehall music. Them niggas is crazy. Yo, they just say anything. I was thinking rap was bad. I'm like, I never knew what they was saying. I couldn't understand it. It sounded like
they will sing the most
that was
most
Shaggy.
melodic and sweet melodies, and they'll be talking about
ratchet
beating
stuff.
it up.
constantly.
Yes.
Like 90% of the time, she'd be like, you know,
literally, there's like, da na 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 na. The lyrics to that is, "I got a penis for your vagina hole."
Yeah, that's my jam too. I got the penis for your vagina hole.
Like,
what a banger!
But we listen to it.
Yo, but they listen to it like not as a joke. Like it's a real, like that come on and they be dancing.
Yeah.
But listen, how, like that's mad masculine. Like, yo.
It is.
Dance hall rap was mad masculine and women just rocked with it.
Yes.
So why is it a problem?
Even with the awareness that there was the misogyny and all that stuff.
I used to ask girls all the time, like, how you dancing this song? Like, it'd be like, where my hoes at? And they just run out there. I'm like, you a hoe now. You running out there, no? They're like, no, they're not talking about me. I'm like, you sure?
It's like this is why I wouldn't be the person to speak to about it, but there are women who like talk about this stuff, who are scholars of hip hop,
yes,
and analyze it from a feminist perspective.
There's guys that do that too, like that they try to like that's part of the whole conscious rap thing, like. And people always try to put us in there. Like when I was with Peyote Visions, not
even from a conscious rap perspective. They're just talking about hip hop in general. The whole, all the genres. I'm saying
like
of hip-hop.
there's conscious rappers who will be like, y'all disrespecting.
Oh my gosh,
cannabis for some reason
that happens even outside of rap.
Women.
That happens even outside of rap. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, there's male rappers that do that. They talk about like that, like on the other side, they're like, I don't know, we got to stop disrespecting our queens.
The thing is that Cardi and Megan, okay, if they are having a conversation, right, their music is a conversation about women feeling empowered. This is how they're talking about sex, which isn't very different from how men usually talk about sex in hip hop.
But that's the thing.
Why is that
men
so
aren't
problematic?
Used to hearing women talk about sex.
Why is that like?
I think that's what's bothering people.
The black community is more conservative than we would want to acknowledge. And it's a hypocritical conservatism because as individuals, they think whatever they do is okay, which is not a traditional sense, but they're like, women should be great role models.
All women got to be
in the
Lauryn
kitchen.
Hill. All female rappers got to be Lauryn Hill.
They need to present themselves properly, but meanwhile the dude is just like doing whatever. It's the most hypocritical thing of all time.
It is. That's why I have.
It's whack.
It is super whack, but also, it just be funny. Like dudes I feel like some of the stuff they be saying be so true to women, and these are conversations that y'all had amongst yourselves. Now it's put in a song form,
right?
Like, what Megan's like, she had a song Captain Hook about the kind of meat she likes, right? Like, dudes, we get uncomfortable hearing this stuff. We're like, what if that's not me?
Right. Y'all don't want to be judged.
Right.
For your quote unquote manhood.
Right.
Or whatever.
So we don't, it's the same reason that dudes don't want to talk to their women about their sexual history. Or even know about it.
No, that's a different. Wait,
think
dudes
so?
don't want to talk about their own sexual history or their woman's sexual history. Yeah,
that's why.
Because this whole thing, like, I see this a lot on Twitter, right? Where it's like, dudes, they'll have these conversations, and it's like all this sex stuff or whatever, and what they're gonna do, and this chick and that chick or whatever, but then when it comes to a relationship or whatever, that's not who they want, or that's not who they're saying that they want. So it's like, or they will, trash somebody online for being open about their sexual exploits. Right. And by somebody, I mean a woman. Right. And it's like, so if you are out here having all this sex that y'all are claiming to have, and you are heterosexual, who are you having sex with if all the women aren't supposed to be having sex?
I was an assistant coach at a college, and I remember the guys on the team was talking about, all of them was saying like, yo, I want my girl can't have no more than like one body. Like she can only have one body. And this, to be fair, these
but you also want her to be
they're young boys. So I'm a coach. I was at the time, I'm be honest, I was only like 4 years older than them. Like I had just graduated. So I wasn't that much older than them, but I was listening to them. And they're like, yeah, my girl can only have like one body if she gonna be my girl, like, anything over that, like she for the streets. So I'm sitting there, I'm listening to her. I'm like, yo, so let me ask you this. Do you want to have sex? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to have sex with women? Like, of course. They're like, what you trying to say? I'm like, all right, so who are you going to have sex with? Like,
if
how are you
every chick only has one body,
right,
and they're not allowed anymore after that,
right?
Who
was left?
Who's left? Who?
Like but guys don't want to have that conversation. And even when they like a girl and they think like this girl's for me, they don't want to hear about who the girl was with.
Is that a maturity thing though? Because I feel like,
I think it's a cult. I don't even know if it's culture, societal.
Because I feel like the older you get, the more you should move away from that.
They just, I think the older they get, they just avoid it. They just say whatever.
Is that true?
I don't think all the double standards are bad, but that's one of the dumb double standards that I've never got. Even in high school and when I was younger, I don't know why, like, women's sexuality is so, like,
it's scary,
looked at as scary, or like, and I know why, because guys are insecure and they're little cowards, and like they can't handle in their little brain if their girl had sex with other people, because then they go, was he better than me?
Right. That's what I was just going to say.
Was his dick bigger
That's
than
the
mine?
first question.
I can't handle it.
Right.
You know, and so I think
why does it matter if he was better if you are the person that?
Well, that's how we operate, though. Like, we are built into hierarchy, right? So, like, we want to be the best. Like, or alpha males do, and then beta males are, like, below that, you know? But beta males want to be an alpha male, so it's like, you know...
Go and get it.
I'm not diving into the alpha beta thing. I'm staying away from that before we.
It's the way
before we end up like what's his name?
Kevin Samuels. Ryan wants to do a Kevin Samuels show.
It's the way of the world. If you look at most mammals, that's how it operates. You think humans are unique?
That man is entertaining, but problematic.
But Nikita, you can see in how guys react that that's the case of the world.
Yeah,
right? That's why these things exist, because that's the biology.
Is it the biology or the nurturing, the socialization?
I would say it's the biology, because in caveman times, that's how things were operated on.
Caveman times.
We got to go all the way back there.
Because that's when you're the most...
You know I'm a big believer in going back to the origin to figure out what's happening. Because there's been a lot of things that are built foundationally for society that don't incorporate.
We have to embrace our nature.
But also, here we are, a modern society.
It's bullshit.
Education. We have a lot of it. You gotta
incorporate nurturing too.
All this stuff.
Us as humans have not evolved much beyond our original existence, right? So because we have technology and we think that we're smart, we are still our ancestors, like our instincts and how we actually are wired, right? So just because we have computers doesn't mean that we've evolved to be with computers.
Completely agree to that extent. But what I'm saying is socialization does have a big part to play in it this part. So at this stage of civilization, right? Where we're talking about patriarchy and how even from young ages, boys are taught to view women, how they're taught to interact with women, and the value that women is supposed to bring, are supposed to bring to their lives. Like, that is socialization. Right. They get taught that stuff. They're not born with that knowledge.
There's societies where they're more equal, or it's like sex is completely different. Like how even how you find a mate and the value that a woman has versus the value a man has. Like if you look at a lot of different,
right? There aren't many.
You look at tribes. There's certain tribes where it's nothing like what we have here. So that would argue against that's nature of humans as much as it is the nurture of the society that we live in.
There are common threads throughout, though, between men and female relations throughout the world.
I actually think that there's too many. I think there's a lot. The idea of Western civilization has pushed this idea. The ideas of how we're supposed to have relationships, the ideas of how we're supposed to be together, and the value that each party is supposed to bring has been shaped by the Western world.
Yes.
I think there's been tons of different types of relationships from, all types of polyamory, all types of different,
even the family structure,
family structures.
Because prior to that, we were more communal. We were more I can't even remember the word for the extended family, right? Where you had grandparents involved, auntie, uncles, all that stuff, and then we get, colonialism and imperialism and all this stuff and whiteness or whatever, European culture, whatever you want to call it. And now we have the nuclear family where it's just mom, dad, and the kids.
Right.
And then everything, unfolds from that.
Right.
It's like, this is where we are.
I think, and I've said this many times, I think that the structure, the expectations of monogamy, and this kind of leads into our next point, the expectations of monogamy are troublesome. Everyone's not built to operate like that. Like I think there are people out there that polyamorous relationships or different types, it doesn't even have to, and when people think poly, I think that can be any group of people.
Right, but people have the wrong idea about polyamory as well, because a lot of people think that it is just, well, I'm free to go and sleep with whoever I want and do whatever I want. And that's not it. Like, you still have to have boundaries, there are guidelines, there are rules. You still have to have great communication because now you have more parties involved, more feelings.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different structures. Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, people think that polyamory only works with a guy and
multiple women.
But there's polyamory relationships where there's a woman and a few guys, or a guy, a woman, a guy, a girl.
Right.
Like, it can be structured however those people want it to be structured. And I think that we have to start looking at relationships in a way that it's whatever works for the relationships that you want. And it would take a lot of that pressure of, like, this idea that you have to have this nuclear family, that there's only one way to build a family and be happy.
Right.
Like, why? We're not even like.
I agree with building your relationship in the way that the two or whoever is in part of it is, but I always think about this as, like, statistically, a 2-parent household is the best to raise children in, right? And obviously, we don't have statistics on a polyamorous situation and a communal situation, which probably might be even better.
But so even when you're talking about a 2-parent household,
right,
those people probably have outside support. But they aren't living in the house.
Right. And I think that's an interesting point because, I always think about, a lot of, like, certain foreign cultures or whatever come here and they all live together.
Right.
And I think maybe there's value in that. I always ask those questions, like, if everyone's living in the same house, is that a benefit? Like, you have kids and you have a lot of childcare.
Have more support.
Maybe that's another model that is probably beneficial.
That's one that I think is very beneficial. I mean, like, that's one of the things that I kind of looked at. I mean, for one, you have less. Group economics works like that. Like, you can start your group economic ideas, which is key for Black liberation. You can start those ideas with your family. Like, get everyone join in the pot, find a space where there's enough space.
And actually, this has been happening a lot since the pandemic. Like, people have been moving and buying larger houses and moving in together with the rest of their family.
That's what since the pandemic, she came down to live with my tribe. We got Paulie G back there who's living with the tribe. That's my brother-in-law. And, so you got my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, and now my girl came, and we're all living in the same place.
Right.
And we're all doing our part. And it actually helps, like, I would love to hear Bianca's perspective, because I would say that would, and Paul, you could yell. That's helped you guys as parents having the tribe.
I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Without the tribe, man. The tribe is definitely great. And it's actually worked out really well. I mean, as you know, Kyle and Nikita are soon to be parents themselves. Right. And they got firsthand to watch me and Bianca, who were first-time parents. And they got an up-close and personal. And it's just, like, if they're not feeling well or something has to happen, and, their father's getting up in age, and if
we could
there, I can help out.
Yeah, he can help out. So somebody's always there to take care of.
Yeah.
My dad's getting older, and I worry about that sometimes when we leave him, and
it's been great, and it might seem like a small thing. No one person has to figure out what's for dinner every single night. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it might seem really small, but I know a lot of people are like, I'm tired of cooking.
Right.
I'm tired. Like, that's something that causes some people stress. But I mean, it's simple, but it's just one example of how the group works.
Right.
To alleviate. And then you have time, those other nights that you aren't, to finish whatever you're doing,
right.
Get some work done,
it
whatever.
allows you more and I always really feel bad for people that are have been isolated, because now we're going over a year in this pandemic, and we all decided to cluster together and do our thing and be in our pod together. Mm-hmm. And that has, not only helped with growing the family. I mean, this is a pandemic baby we're looking at here, but has helped, I think, with our mental health as well. Like, just being around people that, we can still go out and do things together, and we have a large enough group that we can get diverse ideas and opinions. You're not stuck with one, because I feel like if you're stuck with one person, that might be a lot too. Like, that's a whole different thing.
A lot of people have divorced,
right? Like
separated since the pandemic began.
I think it's good to have a tribe, and I think that's something that. But I've always had that mindset. Like, I've always wanted to have.
Like, even from my culture, I know in like West Indian culture, even when people move up here, they don't. I've seen it. Like, American culture is like, get your kid out of the house as soon as they hit 18, kind of thing. And like, in my culture, you stay at home, and your parents' age, you take care of them or whatever. Eventually, you can move out. Mm-hmm. And the thing is like, I've seen people where some of them made their kids pay rent. They save that rent money, and then, like, a couple years down the road, you have a deposit for your house, and your parents were helping you with that by collecting your rent money or whatever.
You know what it is? Part of the thing is with that's American ideology that your kid has to get out by 18. It's this idea of individualism that we have. Like, that you don't have you have to do everything by yourself, when that is not the best way to operate. Like,
and it's not entirely true for anything. Like,
it's not true for anything, but also it hurts people, right? Because if you're 18 or you graduate college and you don't get a job right away, you feel all this pressure to be independent.
Right.
And
it's great if you figure it out on your own.
That's true, but still, it all depends. Again, I think you have to make these decisions that are best for you and what you're trying to do. But I feel like there's a lot of societal pressure, and there's the idea that if your kid comes back and lives with you, they failed. They're a failure. They're living at home. It's a big failure. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can have a dynamic where you're an adult, you're living with your parents in a relationship that works better for everyone. Right. If you're adult about it. But you have to be adult about it.
Right.
Like,
And to be fair, like, the other side of it too, I think probably for Black families that hold that ideology, a lot of us probably like grow up in poverty and stuff like that. So it's like, we don't have enough resources to share with a grown person coming back to the fold. Like, you got to get out there and figure it out, because this is the limited resources here that we have, and this is who is far as left here.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's literally that idea that I don't have enough resources to take care of you. Mm-hmm. Why? You don't have to take care of a girl. Allow them to help. Like, because they're going to have to go live somewhere. So now they have to take care of their own self. They have to get their own place. They have to get their own. Why? If they can make some money, help you out, now you both can live with less stress until you can do something different.
The thing with that, though, is that what I have seen, though, is that it gets a little more complicated, because technology and the environment that kids are in and the stuff that they're exposed to, Gen Z and after, their mindset is a little different. Some of them, right? So I've seen parents have experiences with kids like, I'm just gonna stay here and smoke weed and live in this house and
obviously
not do anything at all.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, what I'm talking about is having an adult conversation with your family and deciding what's best for yourself and your family. If someone
communication
is always key. But if someone doesn't want to work, doesn't want to do anything, isn't aspiring to do anything, isn't trying to do something, that's a completely different thing.
That's a failure of parenting, right? Yes. So it kind of goes into this Meg the Stallion and thing where people are letting the outside world raise their kids, and they think their only objective is to make sure that their kid's happy and he eats food and has shelter. But you actually have to develop your child to be motivated and to want to be independent.
Right.
And so I think it's a funny thing because it's a modern Western view, because it's not a traditional Western view, because medieval ages, the prince lived in the castle till the king died.
Right.
So it's actually not traditionally a Western view, but it's a modern Western view. And I just think that, you know, it if you don't parent your kid, sure, I mean, why would they ever want to do anything?
Right.
You know, so you have to instill that in them. And I think just like Pepe Le Pew and all the stuff in the media now, and Meg the Stallion and the Grammys, is like, people want to say that shouldn't be on TV because my kids will be influenced by it. But if you parent your kids properly,
you should be the number one influence.
Either they're not watching it, or they will watch it with the proper perspective, and you'll have a conversation about women's sexuality and all that kind of stuff.
Really interesting about Pepe Le Pew, real quickly, while you brought that up. So I heard that they took him out of Space Jam because he represents rape culture. But what I heard from people that were working on the film is that the scenes that he was in, LeBron was actually going to talk to Pepe Le Pew about, you can't approach girls like that. So it was going to be a lesson about consent and about how that dynamic should work. So to me, I'm looking at that like, this is a lost opportunity now. Y'all argued against yourselves. like you don't understand that. And this is my whole viewpoint with all of those. Like, Disney put a restriction on a few cartoons, like what's the Lady and the Tramp, and there was another one, but there's a few of them because they have racist imagery in there, and I'm really concerned about this idea that you're going to erase racism.
Oh, now you sound like me, Kyle.
How?
No,
I've always said that.
You sound like me, because this is my whole point, is that what do you do with these things that you find unacceptable? Do you just delete them?
No,
like,
here's the thing.
These people that don't believe in like the politically correct stuff now, are we just going to delete them and banish them and cancel them? Are we going to cancel them forever and just not let them speak? Or are we going to address them and try to use these situations for good instead of banish?
Use them for good,
instead of exiling them.
Some people got to get exiled too.
Yes, some do.
Some people have to get exiled.
My thing with Disney was that it's also like Disney has beaucoup dinero.
Right.
Okay, like they have money. A responsible thing to do, just like how people pour all this money. Like you watch some kind of. We watched Wendy Williams' documentary or whatever.
Y'all watched.
Then after that, they had like a documentary on the documentary.
Right.
Why can't Disney do something where there's an educational program to accompany?
Right. It'd be fire.
Is that
the cartoon?
Job?
I think it's a good idea.
See, this is the thing. This is the parenting thing. Is it Disney's job?
It's not Disney's job.
It's just
an
opportunity.
You have already infiltrated. You have already programmed like generations of people with this, right? This is a problem.
I don't accept the fact that they programmed people.
Whatever.
They did.
The responsible thing to do could just be to accompany it. And I'm sure it wouldn't even be like $1 million in production just to make something.
Yo, if they made
a
like
15-minute program.
I think that's a good idea.
A 15-minute program that accompanies the
like,
cartoon.
To me, instead
I don't think it's the burden of Disney
instead
to
of
educate.
a restriction on
Even
it.
a 5-minute thing at the end of the cartoon that says, "Hey kids, let's talk about." Just like how they had those segments on Sesame Street.
They should do that at the end instead of putting a restriction on it. Because now, now you're making it more difficult for these kids to see it. And what that tends to do, right? Like, I know one of the things was like they portrayed a Native American wrong, and they had the "We Are Siamese, If You Please," which is anti-Asian, which is really big right now. Like that whole sentiment is people are understanding that racism happens all the time, all over. But instead of hiding these things with a restriction, you should talk about how this happened, why it still happened, because it's not going to go away if you don't talk about it. Like, it's not going to just magically disappear because kids don't see it.
It is Disney's responsibility. You've made millions of dollars. You've made millions of dollars off of this propaganda. And it's propaganda across like all the isms.
Right.
All the isms. The least you could do is add on a little 5-minute program at the end, little 5-minute thing at the end. It don't even need to be 5 minutes.
They'll make more money off that.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Because, that's an opportunity for education. That's an opportunity to change the narrative.
I think that
I agree, but they're a private company.
It's not just Disney, though.
We can't tell them what to do.
You can't tell them to do it, but I'm saying society needs to start thinking, instead of trying to hide past that is troublesome.
That's the easy way out.
Trying to not talk to your kids about, because this is what you're talking about. Parents don't want to talk to their kids about things. All right, so if you don't, then we should make media that you can show your kids to explain these things, because you can't not explain them.
That's my point, is that I sound like a Republican, but we have a lack of personal responsibility, right? So if my kids have access to watching these things, I don't even disagree that they should have access to be able to watch them. It's my job to provide them context.
Yeah.
And like you said, I should explain to them, in the 60s or 70s or whenever these things were made, this was the mentality at the time, and that's not acceptable now.
Here's the thing, though.
But the people are lazy, and they would just say, "Oh,
everybody isn't lazy.
It's Disney's fault."
Listen, it's not just lazy.
No. Hold on.
Nobody said it's Disney's fault.
Hold on.
Nobody says Disney's fault.
A lot of parents think that their role is to just keep their kid alive. And there's a lot more to parenting than that.
Yes.
And if you see kids in the store and you see kids around.
Here's something, Ryan. Here's something that you may not be considering. Everyone does not necessarily have the knowledge base. A lot of kids like Sesame Street. You come home from school, at least it used to come on after school. You get home around 4, Sesame Street is on. You come home, your parents might still be at work. You caught public transportation to get home. Sesame Street is babysitting you for an hour. So what I'm saying is
Sesame Street's
that's not Sesame Street's fault, yes. But the other side of that is that there are also parents who don't know any better. There are kids growing up in homes where they don't know, like that's the environment. They cannot teach them anything to counteract the narrative.
Think it should be all parents.
No. But okay. But with that exact point, right? Like we can't solve all the world's ills, and so like. There's some parents that are single mothers. Like, should I make it illegal for you to have kids when you don't have proper child
Nobody's
care?
saying that. No,
No. You chose to have a kid and you couldn't watch them.
Nobody's saying that.
You are saying that.
Nobody's saying
hold on.
No.
I
said that's one example.
Okay.
That's one example.
But that was a choice.
Where the child is being babysitted by the programming.
But
the other example is.
Was that their choice?
Parents are in the home, but
they
don't have the knowledge.
Hold on. Was that their choice to have a child?
That's not a choice.
Yes.
They had the choice to have sex?
Okay, so they had a kid. So they
had a choice to have an abortion?
They had. Well, and some places you don't.
You don't.
Some places you don't.
No,
Roe
versus Wade, you do have an option.
Really trying to stop
if you're in a certain state, it is difficult, but you still do have a choice.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Not a choice everywhere.
Stop it.
It's not a choice everywhere.
So essentially, we can agree that mostly it's a choice to have a child, right?
Sure.
Okay. So if you have a child and you're not able to watch them, who is responsible for that?
No one said it's Disney's fault. What are you talking about? Of course watching.
Of course you are responsible as the parent.
Hold on. Where does Sesame Street come into responsibility in this argument?
No one
course
said that Sesame Street is responsible
as the parent. Yes,
I don't
you are supposed to look after your kids.
Artists and companies are not supposed to raise your kid. That's not what I'm saying.
But y'all are kind of making opposite points because
Kevo out here.
You guys were just talking about the Grammys and women's music and like how they like to empower, like through the music empower themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But why does Disney have a responsibility with their
They don't. This is what
Ryan's
saying.
To promote positive messages.
They don't.
But at the same time, as artists, you guys were saying people like Meg Cardi B can talk about whatever.
You can talk about whatever you want.
Good or not. But why does Disney have any responsibility?
They don't. This is my point. Ryan I keep saying to him, Disney has no obligation to do that.
No, but you're saying what they should and shouldn't do.
I'm saying what they should and shouldn't do.
No, what I'm saying is Disney did. They put a restriction on it. Instead of that, here's what's better. That's what I'm saying. It's not about They're already making an adjustment. They're making the wrong adjustment.
Right.
No.
Because the adjustment, what the adjustment does is, if they're gonna make one, because I wouldn't say make one. I think that if you made this racist, like Dr. Seuss, right? You made these racist books. Kyle, leave the books out. Don't take it back now.
But your guys are working on nuance, right? And so, but what happens is people post things and they say Disney's racist because they have these anti-Asian
that's what they say.
Caricatures.
So what Disney's response was...
what their business does is say, oh, well, we don't want to be associated with that. We're just going to get rid of it.
They put a restriction on it. What I'm saying
Kyle,
is... Hold on. You're right.
Let me finish the point.
You're right there. That's exactly it right there. That's exactly what I'm saying. The country says... Hold on, I don't want to be associated with this racist thing. I don't want to be associated with this transphobic thing, this gay thing. Like, I don't want to be associated with this. So instead of just banning or restricting access to that, you should talk about it. Put it out and have a discussion about it. Like, if you're going to make an adjustment, the adjustment shouldn't be, no, we're not, and throw it away. It should be,
that's the easier option.
That's why America has not progressed. But we don't talk about the uncomfortable things.
But Kyle, it's easier for a reason, right? Like,
it is
some
easier.
people in your group are going to still bash them for allowing it to exist at all.
It still exists.
But it still exists. And you can still access it.
You can access it if you're over 7. You have to put in you have to do an over 7 code or whatever. But my point is, why do that instead of just putting a 5-minute video on the end?
Someone's going to argue with the way that you're doing it.
You can't. As an artist, back to your point, Kev. As an artist, you're never going to please everybody. Right. You're never going to. Someone's always going to be upset.
Not if you.
My point is, I'm not upset with it. I think that they could. I think that they could do what I think they could do is do a better job. If you're going to make it a point to address this issue, because racism is an issue. If you're going to address it, use this opportunity to educate people, not talk about it.
And if Disney,
this is what people do with their friends.
Did Disney go on this Black Lives Matter thing? They have happening
pro-black stuff
and all this stuff. Like, you release these statements and you're Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 all this stuff. But then you don't address the harm you've already caused in a responsible manner. You just,
Right. But this is what's currently is, and I'm talking about a larger society, not just Disney. Everybody needs to start doing this, right? People have an argument with a friend on Facebook and say, well, I'm just going to block that person. What is that? How does that do anything? How does that help?
Right. I agree with you. I'm just saying.
I like to use blocking as self-care, so...
It doesn't help.
I agree with you. That would be the best thing.
It doesn't help society. It might help you at that moment as an individual. You might not feel the tension of an argument. You might not feel, and I get it. There's some people you're not going to ever get through.
Right.
But what happens is people get in these bubbles where they think no one else thinks like them. Or no one else thinks opposite them. Mm-hmm. They think everybody I know says this, but that's not everybody out there. It's not the real world. And as we continue to grow down this line of new technology, new social media, as we're not out in the world, as the pandemic has shut us into our own homes and our connection is more digital.
In our bubbles.
Yeah, you're in more bubbles. If your bubble does not have opposing views, you have no idea what's actually happening until something big confronts that view, and it's too late at that point. I don't shut off my friendships because I disagree with them over a certain point. Actually, as a friend,
but you do have a boundary at which something is unacceptable. That's what I mean. You're not gonna.
But as a friend, right? Me and Ryan disagree on stuff all the time. If you can't tell,
yes, you do.
And we talk about it. And a lot of times, I leave with a better understanding of why he feels that way, and somebody else might feel that way, and he gets a better understanding of where I'm coming from, and we both have learned something, and we come because that's really how growth happens. Growth is not easy. It's not you can't just block stuff out to grow.
And if you're unable to argue your point, you actually don't know what you think, right? So if you're unable to debate something that you think that you believe, you may just be holding that idea because of identity or what you've heard or something like that. unless you're able to actually like have some sort of dialogue, which is important. If you don't actually have that dialogue with an intelligent opposing view, then you probably don't even know what you actually believe. It's just an idea in your head.
If Disney would put some daggone information at the end of these racist clips, these kids would grow up, would be able to talk about it intelligently. But that's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying I don't know if I want to trust Disney with that.
Hustle Sauce, what's up?
Yo, at what point is the line drawn, though, like, in this conversation between how people should think about things, how people should behave, what they should do, how they should be open-minded, versus how people have acted in the past, how human beings will continue to act. And you know what I mean?
So if you can't hear Kevo, he's asking where should the line be drawn with how people have acted in the past, and where should you draw a boundary, right? And to me, I can only give you my personal perspective on this, because I mean the line is different for everybody. For me, right, I don't necessarily cut people off, but I stop having conversations with people after the second or third time when I realize that you're not actually having a conversation. To have a conversation should be an exchange of information. Some people just want to troll you.
I think Kevin's actually asking a deeper question, is which one that I struggle with, and probably the crux of our disagreements is the world that should be versus the world that is, right? So like, you know, I agree with a lot of your should, but that is not the world that exists. And how should we operate in that world, right? Like, I think
I have a simple answer for that.
I think we both agree that like Trumpers and the pure Trump ideology is very toxic, just as an example, right?
Right.
And it's wrong, and they don't know what they're talking about. But what do we do with those people, right? Like you're saying, we can't just block them, and we can't just act as if
block them because they're still there.
We can't act as though they don't exist. We have to operate in a world where that worldview, at least in this country, is held by 30 to 45% of people. So
47.
What do we do with that, right? Like, sure, we should. So, a good example, and I'm not trying to take all the airtime, but a good example is, I know that the police might pull me over more if I have tinted windows,
right?
And I'm a black person,
right,
and they're more likely to give me a ticket. So if I get tinted windows, although it's kind of messed up that they might pull me over more because I fit a category, do I choose to do that, or do I choose to not? Or
is it
your
legal?
hair.
Is
Hold
it
on.
legal?
Your hair, for example, you should talk about that. When you were playing in college, they wanted you to cut your hair.
Right.
It's wrong, but do you do it so that you can operate in the world?
I love this question. I have a simple answer. I live the way I want the world to be. The world will not always meet you where it should be, but it won't ever get to where it should be if we don't live that way. Like, if we only deal with how it is, it will never change. As somebody like,
isn't this why y'all started collab?
This is why we do what we do. But I'll use that as an example, right? So when I was playing in college, I had a crazy college story. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but the first school I went to, which was Fairleigh Dickinson, they had an issue. I wasn't recruited by them. I was recruited by Fordham. They lost their scholarships, and the coach called, and I went there, and I never met the coach. Never met we didn't have any real relationship, and he had just heard about me, and they saw I get some game tape, but they thought that like most young black men, I guess I would be okay conforming to what their standard would be. Like, I went in his office, and he said, we're like the Yankees. We do everything clean shaven. At the time, I had a huge afro. As I always was. He wanted me to cut my hair. Now, at the time, I'd just been voted NAACP Man of the Year for high school in South Jersey, and I didn't cut my hair for Midnight Madness. So I wasn't allowed to play. I wasn't allowed to participate, and they stood up for me there. I wasn't there. I was kicked out of the gym for that, and they stood up for me there when they didn't see me on the court. That was something I never knew. And it wasn't until the next year when the assistant coach told me about that confrontation that I decided to transfer. I'm somebody who, I went to a Catholic school, and I had my afro there. You're supposed to have it at a certain inch length. I'm not compromising on who I am to make white people comfortable. That now the way the world is, that's what most people do. I've had uncles, I've had people, you know, that have black people that have told me, many black men have told me, like, listen, man, you know, you should just cut your hair if that's what they want. You know, that's how you move up in the world. That's not the world I want to live in. We as black people, this is my natural hair. There's been a lot of people whose hair grow like that. I should be allowed to wear my natural hair the way I want to. And that's the world I want to live in. So that's what I did. That's what I chose to do. That's the fight I chose to fight. It's great to me when I watch these young kids playing college, playing in the pros, and just doing whatever they want with their hair. There's a million different hairstyles. And none of them will know that the fight that I fought with, you know, the things that I had to go through. And I'm sure I was not the only one. There's been countless, you know, young black guys who fought to keep their dreads, who decided they wanted to wear their hair this way. And I know I was not the only one in this fight, but there was a whole bunch of us that at some point said, no, I'm not doing that. This is what I want to do. And that's how I approach that situation with everything, right? It's not where the world is, but that's not how I want the world to be. So I'm going to fight to get as close to where it should be as I can, if that answers, you know, the question.
I'm curious what your perspective is on that, Nikita.
I am not as much of a rebel as Kyle. Our experiences have been very different. I came up in a very conservative school environment. So I actually got suspended for wearing my hair in natural textured braids that look like natural twists. And I went to a majority black school. There were probably like a handful of white people there. And they got to stay because you weren't allowed to color your hair. You weren't allowed to wear your hair in certain. So my braids at the time had like an orangish color, like an auburny color. And actually is still a big issue in Barbados right now with hair and school and stuff like that, because a lot of the time non-black people are allowed to come to school with their hair colored, red, whatever the case may be, and stuff like that. So I come from a more conservative background. I always am inspired by Kyle and his rebellious nature because it doesn't come natural to me because of how I've been socialized and raised. Between religion and religion also being a big part of my schooling as well. Like, that was kind of like...
This was school in Barbados?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do they have a...
Colonized.
Because they were colonized.
British influences.
We're very heavily British. So they're trying to break away from that now, but Barbados is a very, I call it full conservatism as well to some degree, because we are highly religious. We have all these very conservative and like to think of ourselves as very ethical people, but we pick and choose the things that we are going to condemn, right? So
why do you think that it's fascinating. Why do you think this stuff exists in a predominantly black place, right? Like, we're a minority here in America and we're fighting these fights.
Because of colonialism, because of
white people still got the money.
So I wonder.
And the power struck that.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
So do you think that, like, if we became a majority as black people, that this stuff would still haunt us?
Yeah,
so
because
deeply?
Unless we are able, this is why I talk about socialization a lot, because unless we are able to get into the mental part of it, the psychological part of it, right? Because this is stuff that's passed down, beliefs. That's passed down from generation to generation. It's ingrained to you because it's built into your education system.
That's big in black culture. Like, everyone talks about how they was whooped,
and
how they were spanked, and that's almost like a rite of passage. But if you look at the history of where that comes from, it really goes back to slavery, and goes back to how you would try to keep your kid in line and teach your
so that you correct your kid, so that master doesn't have to correct your kid. Because if master has to correct your kid might not come home,
might be dead, might lose. Like, so there is such a fear-based ideology, and it was like that not even just from slavery. Like, even in Reconstruction, you had to teach your kids not to look white people in the eyes on the street. Like there's so much fear that goes into how we raise our kids, and we don't look at where it comes from. We don't look at the origin of that. I'm gonna do my best not to. I think there's other ways to communicate with the child, and I don't believe that that idea of beating is necessary. I want to try to break that cycle. Even though, to be honest, and I got to shout out to my parents, I was not beat like that. I was beat like once.
Yeah, I wasn't really beat either.
I was beat once by my dad for cussing, and that was my cousin's fault. If y'all watching this, you set me up. I never forgot it. I never forgot that y'all set me up. But that was the one time I really got beat. My sister was never really beat. Like, she started crying. He beat her with like a feather. She started crying. I'm putting you on blast. But yeah, so they kind of broke that cycle. But that's something I really want to further the path of communicating and like treating the child as a person. But I think I still see that so much even with our generation, that this idea that you have to beat a kid, and I don't think people are really assessing where that's coming from. Like now, there is some times when the kid is old enough, like you might have to grip them up like, hey, listen here. I understand that there's a lot of different ways, but I don't think that from some people just do it because they don't know where it's coming from.
And they don't know how to respond to their kids' needs.
Right.
And, but yeah, it could go on talking about at least Bajan culture in terms of that. And it's a common thing, and I guess, but other experiences in the Caribbean, at least the English Caribbean, I can speak about. But,
Tell me this. In Bajan culture, how important is marriage?
So if you're talking about marriage, like you're talking about religion, Anglican, like everything is built, religion is built into everything, right? Like, so marriage is important, or was important. I would say now, like my generation, and this is, okay, let me rewind. This is why I talk about full conservatism in Caribbean culture and Bajan culture as well. Because lots of people have had children out of wedlock. My grandmother had her first child out of wedlock. Like my grandmother on my other side, all her children are out of wedlock. All of them have different dads, right? So there's that, and that is the culture that we come from. Whereas, like, people have outside families, men have outside families. Mm-hmm. They go down the street, and then my father's father had children all in the parish, and they didn't know about each other. His father did the same thing, but he took them around and introduced them to each other. And they're all from, like...
That island stuff crazy, right? Because, like, everybody on an island.
But at the same time, very religious. Everybody believes in, God. This is marriage. You should be married. Right. So it's like you should be married before you have a kid or whatever. So, like, when I have told older people that I'm pregnant or whatever, one of the first questions that I get is, when are you getting married? When is the wedding? Right. And I also got that question from someone in our age group or younger or whatever. And, but they grew up highly religious as well in Caribbean culture. And I was just like, what is this thing?
Right.
Because I in my peer group, very few people are married. People have kids. They're living together, or they're living communally or whatever with their mom, their dad, and mom and dad is helping out, their brother, uncle, whatever the case may be. But nobody's married.
Yeah. People don't even ask me if I'm married. They just keep saying, how's your wife? Which is cracking me up. Like, I'm like,
can I ask
when I get married?
What is your guys' view on marriage, and why don't you get married?
I'm not against it. It's something that we've talked about, and, I want to do. To be 1,000% honest, I went to Bianca and Paul's wedding in the middle of a pandemic and said, I'm just going to wait. I'll wait a little bit and wait till this pandemic.
I don't feel like there's a rush, especially now that I am pregnant. Like, people don't understand.
See, so to Bianca and Paul were planning their wedding
when they found out.
Yeah, before, like, he proposed to her at Amazonian Nights, and the next day she started planning that crap. Like she started early because that's how Bianca gets done. Shout out to Bianca too. If you see this jacket, this is from her merch store on her website. Go to whoisbianca.com and buy you some merch. I just wanted to plug that while I'm talking about her. But yeah, she started the day after they proposed. So they were planning their wedding. They planned their wedding, I believe it was before you found out. Yeah, before they found out they were pregnant and way before the pandemic. So they'd already started making payments. So that is why they did that. Now, I watched how that went, like just like all the concerns and the stress of the pandemic put it on their wedding. And while it turned out great, I think it was a really fun time. Like I love that experience.
Beautiful location, beautiful ceremony.
Was just difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just going to wait until after.
Even if there wasn't a pandemic, I still don't think there would be a problem with waiting.
Right.
Like, I know that people are gonna have their own opinions and be judgmental about, well, you should be married first, or well, if you already, what's it that they say in our culture is that you already got the milk, you don't have to buy the cow. Right?
Well, yeah.
So people say that. And like, sure, whatever opinions you have, like, I don't feel pressure from you.
Right.
I don't feel pressure myself to like, oh, I need a ring today or anything like that. My focus right now is having a healthy baby, having a healthy pregnancy, having a good birth experience. I want to bring this child earthside and then think about whatever else comes.
It's all about communicating in your relationship. Like I feel like, we've built a great foundation where we can communicate and it works. I feel comfortable here. I don't feel pressure from you to get a ring or to figure out the marriage, or I don't feel any of that.
Right.
But that I think is a testament just to our foundation of our relationship, which is communication.
Yeah, and none of this is to say that we don't want to get married or quote unquote make things official. It's
just interesting society-wise to look at how people just assume you're my wife. Like, that has been blowing my mind. Like, people just be like, how's your wife doing? And I don't know if they're saying it jokingly. Like, I think some people really think that because I feel like they looked at the pictures from
Bianca and Paul's wedding
and they're thinking, oh, that was y'all getting married. And I'm like, no.
Can you guys help me out? Mm-hmm. What does marriage mean anymore?
Marriage is always.
Why do you get married?
Marriage has always been the same thing. It's a union. It's a business decision to an extent.
Yeah, I think that legally marriage is important, and that's what I think about marriage. Like, yes, all the other stuff with you, but you get that in a relationship. Period. But we are living in the system, and in order to reap the benefits of partnership, marriage is the step that you take, right? So, and I look at it because I have a lot of experience dealing with the healthcare system and stuff like that. You aren't married. You don't get to make decisions for your loved one, right? So suppose your boyfriend or whoever is estranged from their family. Those people get to come in, and they haven't spoken to them for years or whatever. They get to come in and make those decisions.
Get them dynasty plot lines.
Financially, they get to come in and make those decisions. They get to go into the bank and say, well, hey, now we're here, kind of thing. And, it's like...
Even, especially, I think, with having a kid, too, I think it's better.
Yeah.
Well, why you all ain't get married then?
Well, look.
Well, it's in the plans.
Why don't you go to the courthouse?
Baby Skyns was a surprise, and a pleasant surprise it was.
Yeah, but,
I don't have a problem with a courthouse wedding, but I just don't feel the pressure to do that. I don't think it's time yet.
But you're having a baby. What about medical rights?
Well,
what about what?
Medical rights and stuff we were just talking about. Legal rights.
Yeah, but we are still the legal parents of the child, so either one of us can make the decisions for the child.
Right, but it's just easier growing up as time progresses if we all have the same.
I'm talking about if something his family, there's great communication where there's no estrangement or anything like that, neither from mine.
Right.
So I wouldn't have a problem with like, you know, if something happened to him, God forbid, then
They wouldn't act crazy.
Right. No problem with that. But there are instances where you absolutely have to.
There are some benefits to marriage, but it's. I just don't feel like people rush it and people do it for reasons that are not the real reasons you should be doing it for.
Right. Yes, love and all that stuff is important, and you should marry someone. I mean, look, people get there's arranged marriage still happens.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about arranged marriage between adults.
Yeah.
And that has its ups. That also has its downs.
Right.
Right? So like there's some of them that last a long time. But there are horror stories about people having arranged marriages, and the first few years are terrible. But I think the first few years for any marriage are rough.
Well, if you're in an arranged marriage and you don't know the person, that's
right.
That's.
But I feel like even when you do get married, there's this new level of like, okay, now we are here. Now we are partners. And now we have to know each other as these two, like, now we're a unit.
You know, it used to bother me with girls. They would be like, what's the next level? that idea.
Oh, God.
That used to bother me.
I'm a hot boy out here. I hear these questions a lot. Just kidding.
Oh, my God.
I'm just kidding.
City boy Ryan. City boy Ryan got the bread.
Another point for the city boys. Y'all got
We need to make it official.
Well, even after that,
why won't you post me on Instagram?
The idea of next level, like to me, I was always like, once I'm in a relationship with the person, once I've declared my love for this person, what more is there?
Right, but I mean, there are steps to take outside of just the emotion stuff.
All right, I'll ask you this: Do you think that marriage would change the relationship?
I think marriage changes the relationship in the sense that...
No, our relationship. Do you think if we got married, it would change?
Not at the core of what it is, no.
Right. So
what would it change? You said the core, so it would change something.
No, but what I mean in terms of marriage changing things is like, now for like before, okay, you're a boyfriend and girlfriend, you have other people to lean on, fine. But I feel like when you get married, you're really like, okay, you're officially a unit now, right? Yes, you have support.
Yeah, you hear it?
I'm ignoring.
Right? That was not me who said that. Just so y'all know, I was Ryan,
City Boy Ryan,
aka Slim Poppy on IG. You gotta change his name.
Poppy Real Estate, baby.
He said so my guy Ryan. We gonna put a picture of him up because y'all can't see him. He's doing a great job with his diet. He's losing weight out here, and he said when he reaches his goal, he's gonna change his name on IG to Slim Poppy Real Estate. And we're going to make a big announcement if he does that. So he wants to get down to 205. So everyone, let's root for Ryan to get to 205.
We are rooting for you. I'm always rooting for Ryan.
I'm always rooting for Ryan.
I'm not going to get there for Jamaica in June.
Yes, you
I'll
will.
be there next summer.
When he does, we're going to have a big celebration. Yeah. And you're going to have to change your IG name, and we're going to do like a big graphic and everything. But anyway, go ahead. Tell me what, I forget what
I feel like, okay, no, you are a unit, and things that you might have been able to reach outside of your union or your relationship for before, now it's like we are really relying on each other, right? For what legal purpose, whatever the case may be, but no, you're really relying on each other.
I think this is the difference between how I operate and how, I guess, some people operate in relationships. I'm not getting in a relationship. If I get in a relationship, that's how I feel. We're a unit now.
Right.
Like, I don't do a light boyfriend, girlfriend. There is no light boyfriend, girlfriend with me. It's either, we're friends, had a lot of friends, had a lot of people that I was cool with.
John's in a friend zone.
We're not. It's not even
not that kind of friend zone.
Nah, not that kind of friend zone. Friends with benefit zone. The beneficial zone. But yeah, no, it's friends. Like I don't have there's no title. I don't have that many girlfriends in my past because to me that means a lot. Yeah. Like that for me, we're a unit now. Like this is my girl.
I don't think everyone thinks
everyone
like
does
you.
not operate like that.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, like
I can't even say that I think like that. Because from I'm a person's like I'm a gradual person.
She's
like
so
Yo, for listen, me, I have to move at the pace that I'm gonna move at. I was
out here driving Lyft one night. This is a couple years ago. I'm driving Lyft,
oh my God.
And I don't know what exactly triggered it, but I realized that she was not recognizing that we were in a real relationship yet. Right? She was not trying.
We were not.
She did not recognize that we were in a real relationship yet. She was trying to skirt the title. This is mind-boggling to me, being me, like someone who has always skirted the title. Like I was good at that. And I realized on the phone, I'm like, wait, you don't recognize we're in a relationship? And then like I had to pick someone. I was so angry. Like the Lyft Jones started beeping. It was like boom, boom, boom. I was like, I'm gonna call you back as soon as I pick this person up. I was like, you better answer the phone too. I was mad. I could not believe.
Oh boy!
I was like, "Yo, you just met my mom. We're in that's it, relationship." I introduced you, like I brought you down to the show, introduced you to fam, and then you try to say, "Oh, well, that doesn't mean." I was like, "What?"
Because we didn't actually have a formal discussion about it at that time. Like,
where's my camera?
There was no formal discussion. Communication, right? So I was just like, we're still exclusively talking.
Exclusively talking. The bane of my existence. What is exclusively talking? What is Ryan, what's exclusively talking?
I don't believe in any of these titles, so
Jay, what is exclusively talking?
Oh man, I think that I've had experience where shit like if you don't have like it could go either way where you're dating exclusively like until y'all take that next step. Now, not to say that I believe that we like you did lead the whole situation, and if you didn't want a relationship, if you stopped pursuing her, it wouldn't have been a relationship.
Right.
But so tell me the difference between a relationship and exclusively talking. Because if you leave a relationship, you out the relationship. What's the difference?
I think in womanese, this no.
Oh my gosh! Whoa. Did you remember that you were recording?
No, I'm kidding. Not really.
Not.
I think that means that you guys are talking, but you're not allowed to talk to other people.
If I'm not allowed to talk to anybody else,
nope, you trapped, dog.
You're in a relationship.
He wasn't trapped because he had the opportunity to, and he said he didn't want to.
No, if we both decided, here's why this crap is garbage to me. If we both decided that we're only going to talk to each other,
he hates this phrase so much
because it's the relationship. That's what a relationship is. Hey, I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. We're in this together. What's the difference?
But for me, I didn't need the title.
No,
like I just
get that.
Exclusive in relationship.
It's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. It's the
the
same
men
thing.
are killing me here. Someone, please, in the comments.
Even guys like the title because now you put a different emphasis on things when you're in a relationship.
Right, guys.
Right.
Be doing that.
Even if you're exclusive and you mess up, you're like, well, we're in a relationship.
It's the same thing, though. Yo, listen.
But what I'm saying, that's
I know what you're saying. That's a cop out.
And I am not going to deny it
Right.
because at the time, remember, I told you my life was just not set up for
You
that.
was
So
trying
that
to
was like my
skirt it.
gradual step before relationship.
Hey, listen, if you think you're exclusively talking, you're lying to yourself. You're in a relationship and you're just not willing to admit it.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I need more help since I am troubled.
Boy.
Social media policy.
What about it?
What about it? Oh, posting somebody.
So
that's big.
Okay, hold on. So when do you post people? Is
exclusively talking.
liking a picture. So
No,
me
you do
being
not.
retired for 10 years, I didn't know that liking a picture is so political and means a lot. I like 90% of my
everything.
feed, but
You like
apparently if you like certain pictures, that means something.
I think that's based
How
on
do
the
you guys
individual.
feel about these
That's
things?
individual.
I think that's based on the individual. Yeah, it's based on the individual and what that you should be having a discussion about what each other's boundaries are. I don't necessarily
Yeah, I like whatever I like. She don't
care what
don't
he
care.
likes on social media.
I don't know what
So
she
Kyle
likes.
can like all the booty meat. pics.
He be showing me the booty meat pics.
Okay. That's good. That's healthy.
Yeah, and the TikToks.
In my relationship, Bianca was saying stuff about pictures I like before we were even dating. So I knew once we were in a relationship, like,
right.
yo,
that's off
right. So you gotta know your partner.
You gotta know your partner.
Yeah.
There's no one size fits all for that. That's why communication is the main thing in relationships. You have to communicate. And it's like for you, right? Like I know Ryan likes stuff you don't even look at. He just be scrolling and liking.
Yo, I'm like here some
very
motivation.
liberal with the likes.
Like you'll say to him, like you'll be like, "Yo, bro, you seen that picture?" You'll be like, "What picture? The one you liked?" And you're showing me like, I didn't even know what that was. Like he doesn't even. So he's liking things just out of habit, and it's not doesn't always
his
mean.
thumb has an automatic
doesn't
reflex.
cost anything.
It doesn't really mean
care.
anything to him. It doesn't mean the same thing to him that it means to other people.
Can you comment the emoji eyes?
Now, see the comments. Comments get different.
Ooh.
Comments get different.
Comment there's a line there with comments. Yes.
It all goes into the person. Like,
Right.
if
Yeah.
somebody was in a relationship where a guy was liking pictures and then they found out that he cheated with her, of course, her next
Right, now it's different.
If a guy's still liking pictures of all these girls, she's going to associate that with him possibly cheating on her.
Whoa.
Or vice versa.
You're triggering me. All right.
No.
So hold on. So should the new guy pay
No.
for your past?
No.
Whoa. Watch the finger. Whoa.
But at the same time, that's where communication comes in.
Yeah.
Yes.
He should be like, listen, my last relationship, God was like, so I'm not necessarily comfortable with it. Well, you can be like, well, if you can't give me that same, my freedom, because I'm not like that, and if you look at my previous likes, I like things way before you, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Right. It's about communication. It's about
that's too much rationalization, and people don't. Well, certain people of a gender don't care.
Certain people of a gender. Look how he tried to sneak it in there.
They don't care about logical.
What is happening here?
They don't care about logical.
I feel like there should be another woman here. Balance out what is happening.
No, this is what we were doing on
Spicy Sundays.
Spicy, yeah.
There's dudes that are worse than girls.
Right. Yes, there are guys that are worse than girls.
Yes.
Let's be for real.
So this is what I was telling you last.
Most women, they won't even like crazy stuff because they get generalized so quickly. Guys will like all type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dap them up and big them up for it, and girls.
It's definitely a double standard on social media, but it also means
girls are more careful.
Yeah.
We're just,
but that's society.
It doesn't mean anything. It's a picture. It doesn't mean
I just learned that like people look at who watches their stories and who likes their stuff.
Yeah.
I've like
Some people
very
do that.
rarely have done that.
Yeah, I don't really.
Look, so the rules of social media are like everything else in relationships. It is custom tailored to your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You have got to. It is not. You cannot go based on a generalization of gender.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Because
You
if
gotta-
that person's
I'm
boundaries
kidding.
and whatever don't work for you, then
Right.
and you don't have to be with that person.
Wait, I'm allowed to have my own
Yeah.
expectations as a guy.
Yes.
I
But
can
that's
have my
the
own
thing.
standard.
It's like you have to know who you
That's
are.
allowed. That's not sexist to have my own standard.
It depends on what your.
What if
standards
it's
are.
based on shallow things?
That's allowed.
Some
Listen,
some
Thank
shallow.
you,
I'm
Paul.
shallow as crap.
He is.
I'm wild
I used to
shallow.
call. What I used to call you?
Shallow. What did you call me?
I'm glad you're helping me here because
Shallow.
usually I get
Not even shallow hell. It was
No.
something else that you were calling you.
Yeah, you call me something else, but I'm wild shallow. I can't be with a girl that I didn't find attractive.
that's all men, but
No, it's not.
According to our last episode,
those are the settling men that are beta. those are the beta. Those are the beta males that
No,
settle.
it's not even that. It's not even about settling, right? Like
Yes, it is.
no.
what people
No guy
find,
wants an ugly
what
John.
people find
Sorry.
what people find attractive is
That's
No, 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 no,
subjective.
no, no, no,
All of that is
no, no,
relative.
no,
It's
no, no, no,
subjective.
no.
Well, beauty is not subjective 100%.
Right. Beauty is not. Kevin said beauty is not subjective 100%. There is a standard of beauty that transcends everything.
Okay.
okay.
If you take 100 guys and put them in a room, certain women will rank similarly across all of them.
I agree.
But the part
So it's
that,
not fully subjective.
yes, but the part that we always miss when we just stick to the physical stuff, like you
Like everyone's uncomfortable.
How do they smell?
Right.
Can they hold a conversation?
I start like the difference
Does
between
their breath
the way you look
doesn't no.
So you would put it with somebody. Okay,
Here's,
so you will if they are a 10.
it's worth a lot of points.
And
Listen,
their
bro,
breath stinks.
Let me tell you this. Ryan.
You don't care.
Baby, I'll get you the best toothpaste.
Best dentist.
I'm telling you.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
I could work with that.
I'm telling you from experience, bro. Listen, and maybe this is just me. I've been with like 8 to 10s. I've been with the 10s, but it gets boring if they're boring.
I agree.
Like that's cool for a little bit.
I agree.
But you can't build a partnership. You can't build a life. You don't want to enter. I'm not entering a relationship with somebody who I can't converse with, who isn't interesting, who doesn't help me grow in any way.
I agree.
You have to, this is what I was saying before. You have to know who you are. You have to determine what is your goal before you go out there. Because are you having fun? Are you looking to build a partnership?
Oh, so I need help here again. How do you guys? How clear are you on what you want, like in relationship world, right? Like, how confident are you? So I mean, it's too personal, but like I want to have kids, and then like I weigh the options, but I don't know what that is like. So I don't know if am I glorifying having kids or because if you talk to some parents, some parents will say, it's not as great. Secretly
they'll be like, "You as your
homie
homie for a second."
Yes,
you have not had enough experience just living life.
I think I agree.
That's really what it is. Like
that's why I'm a hot boy.
And right, but I feel like that is an important period of time for most people, not just men. Everybody needs to.
Right.
What the question you're asking is, you're saying to me, you don't know what you like yet, like. And so when I was in college, you were in the Army. Completely different experience.
I was sweating in that.
I was wilding in college, but I was getting a lot of information about.
And most of the time, what you're learning, at least for me, what I was learning, college and after, was even if I didn't know exactly what I did want, I was figuring out pretty quickly
what you don't like,
what I didn't want.
I feel like I'm in therapy right now because that was a big point actually.
Yes.
Right. Now, if you can figure out what your deal breakers are, you're not going to find a perfect person.
Right.
But you realize what you can
live with.
Right.
Tolerate.
Then if you see a person that kind of try to changes little things that help in that direction, and they won't cross your deal breakers, then that's somebody you could possibly be.
I'm still laughing at Bianca trying to act like she said Paul was not out there while I was in North Jersey when Paul was up there. The name was out there, bro. We
dang, it's called.
we
No.
we was in North Jersey at the same time.
Yeah, but so.
I was sort of my royal oath.
No, but help me out here. So like.
You gotta.
I might be a unique.
Try some more things.
I'm a unique character in the fact that I was raised in this millennial idea that you can have everything you want.
You can,
and unfortunately, I kind of get everything I want.
Yeah.
But from relationships, I don't know if you could do that, right?
Humans.
So like, I'm struggling with.
Humans are not perfect.
That. And I always do have this thing in my mind, like, maybe I could do better.
That's because
that's
you
toxic.
No, that's true. That's toxic. That's nature. I mean, that was something I.
What do you do with that thought?
Wait till when you find
it's
somebody.
It's pervasive.
No. When you find somebody, when you find somebody you love, like that's what love to me. That's what love really. That's how I would do. I'm good when you. It's different. It's a different thing. Like you stop that because that's always a thing. Like, oh, this person's better until you find somebody you're like, nah, this is it. This is good. Like that's.
I don't know if I'll ever do that.
Nobody does. No man does. Can't speak for women, but from a man's perspective, you think there's no way. I remember when I was like in 7th grade talking to my boy Julius Umali at the YMCA. We're sitting there after we had been done hooping. He's like, yo, you ever think about marriage? I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, you just wake up and you just see the same face every day. He's like, I don't think I could do that. And I was thinking, I don't think so either. That sounds ridiculous when you put it that way. But as you get to a point, you understand that it is possible. It's something you could do.
Or do you just get tired?
No,
if you
never get tired.
If you enjoy your time with that person, you enjoy the.
No, I enjoy the time with different people.
See, for me, like, it's
Well,
not
then
waking
maybe-
up to the same face every day because I'm constantly growing. Bianca's constantly
Right.
Right.
So it's not like it's the same face because we're growing together. So every month we're adding something, we're getting rid of something, we're changing, we're growing. So it's not like it's the same person. It's
Right.
the same face. If you constantly
Paul-
push each other to be better.
Paul is making a great
Paulie G out here.
point.
If you couldn't hear him, he said it's not waking up with the same face because you're constantly changing, you're constantly growing, you're constantly evolving. So you're
and
waking up with
that
different
we've
people.
been talking about this recently, and it's like that is why some people. I mean, you have the right to choose, right? Like you don't. The person that you marry at 25, that's not going to be the person that you're with at 50.
Or
People
35.
are 30. Like people change, right? Like life happens and life changes you, and you have experiences. You grow, you shift, you adjust, or whatever. And when you get to that point, sometimes you'll realize, oh, we
Like,
didn't grow
bro,
together.
The phase you're in right now, you're not in a relationship phase,
Right.
dog, like that, and that happens. Like you see, sometimes you're just not ready. Like you're just not what you want.
Perfect example, right? Me and Bianca. I've known Bianca for probably over 12 years. You know, we were friends. I actually knew Kyle before I knew Bianca.
Right.
Me and Bianca dated, and I broke it off because I told her that I wasn't ready for what she was offering, and that I valued her enough where I didn't want to hurt her because I knew that it would. Now, I had another girlfriend, but I didn't see her maybe as a wife potential because of the foundation we built. And then
It's a weird
4
thing.
years ago, I meet with Bianca and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get out of my relationship. I'm never getting another one. I'm done. And Bianca's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm right here. How are you saying this? And then, you know, we went on a couple more dates and things. And then, like I said,
Yeah, you never know when it's gonna happen.
this was time. You know,
Yeah.
I felt as though I could be
Yourself.
the guy that
Right.
I knew she deserved, just by knowing her past and what she's been through. And that's why I broke it off because I didn't want to be the next guy in line to do the same thing.
Right.
It's a weird thing. Like it's a weird thing to know when you know. Like that's really the question you're asking is how do you know when you know, right? And I don't think that anyone has a real answer for that. It's an actual thing. Like,
Still, no answer, man.
like yo, for all intents and purposes, like our relationship was very difficult. To like, if you look from the outside, she was not near me. It was long distance.
Mm-hmm.
She was not necessarily trying to be in one. She was in a space where she was surrounded with a lot of responsibility, and none of it was easy. Like it wasn't easy stuff to do.
Right.
So she wasn't looking for a relationship. So the time wise, it wasn't the best. Like it wasn't fertile ground for a relationship to come from. But I felt something there. I felt like nah, this is the right person. This is the right person to build with.
And I felt enough as well. Where it's like, I will make the time.
Right.
Right.
And this is you don't know when that's gonna happen, and you can't make it happen. Only thing I will say that I've always been like, even when I was like, because when I was messing with girls would always say like, how do you know you don't want a relationship? I say I don't know that I don't. Like sometimes I think people shut themselves off to relationships, which you were doing. Well, like they're like, I can't do a relationship. I'm not gonna have a relationship. I've never done that. I'm just like, it's always it's a possibility. I'm not looking for one. Like some people are actively looking for like I need to find this next person. I was never doing that. I was just enjoying my time, like enjoying people, enjoying the people I was with. That's why I was still able to be friends with them, because I didn't have any expectations of them, of the people I was with. I enjoyed them for the person they were. We were friends. We're still friends. You know, I wish all of them the best. Anyone that was watching and listening, this is you.
Kyle's good at that act.
It's not an act. I really do. I really,
Free love energy.
I enjoyed that person.
Yo, if I
for
talk
what
to
it was.
anybody, they gonna be wanting to be with me. I don't know.
That's the expectation you set. That's the expectation you set. You have to talk to them about that. You realize that. You have to talk about what do you want?
I don't think they'd be listening.
Have you ever asked a girl, what do you want? Like, what are you looking for?
Of course.
Yeah. Do you care what they want? That's the question.
Cha-ching over there. Ding, ding,
Do you
ding.
care what they
Dang,
want?
Paul with the heavy hitters today.
I mean, like, okay, I was at a point where I didn't care what they wanted because if you didn't want it, I would find somebody that did.
All right.
So it was never like a relationship ideal because eventually you're gonna find what they don't want. And that's a reason just to go find somebody who will at that time. So a lot of times when you're searching and you're trying to figure things out, it's a phase. Summertime, I wanted somebody who was gonna be out on the beach, partying. Wintertime,
Right.
Fall, it's always different.
Cuffing season.
Seasonal people, man. Seasonal people.
Paul was living with cuffing
3
season.
months.
Cuffing season
3
rules.
months.
That's just how it was. Like, I ain't gonna, my mom literally was like, at one point, she was like, yo, why don't you let the sheets dry before you
Oh,
I
boy.
was just in a phase where I was trying to figure things out.
Yeah,
man.
my
Figure
mom,
out myself.
my mom straight up called me a hoe. It's pretty fun. I was like, dang.
You were.
Yeah, you know, you witnessed it.
I certainly did.
You witnessed the back and forth travels.
Yeah.
What?
I don't think you're ready for a relationship, Ryan. And that's not a bad thing. Just you have fun. Be honest and upfront.
Honestly,
And
that's
if
awesome.
that
They don't wanna
person
hear that.
cannot handle your honesty,
I've been told to lie to them.
do not.
Do not
no.
lie.
Do not lie.
I've been specifically instructed to lie.
No.
But listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. If you are honest with someone and they are not okay with that honesty, like, oh, well, that's not what I want. Someone else out there will be cool with whatever your setup is.
You know, but the thing is, you tell them all that, and they still want you anyway, and then you're a bad guy anyway.
Yeah, what are they looking for? You have to be aligned,
I'm
man.
hot in these streets, dog.
Ryan got
I'm
the test
hot
run.
out here.
Ryan got the bread.
Ryan got the bread. He got the. Yes, take that mic down. Finally.
Ryan, have you found any girl that can check you yet?
No one can check me.
See? And when you find someone that can check you?
No, I don't believe in that.
All right.
You don't believe in it, but when it happens, boy, oh boy.
No, literally that.
If you see the table shaking,
See, you're thinking about
that's because Ryan
as in,
pulled his mic off the table.
thinking about a check as in somebody coming at you crazy.
No, I'm not. You gotta subscribe to my Patreon
You gotta.
because no one's checking me.
Ryan doesn't want to be held accountable right now.
No, it's not about accountability.
But that's kind of what he means by checking.
Like when someone can manage
Hold you
your-
accountable for
and
your
manage
stuff.
and manage your whatever.
Hold me. What do you mean? Let's
You're
be
not a
specific.
perfect person. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
Attitude and personality, right? And it may rub people the wrong way.
We gotta definitely set up a camera for you
Oh,
next
my
time.
my personality will definitely rub people the wrong way.
Okay, now when you find someone who can manage that in a way that is not taken to offense by you, or you become defensive, or you become standoffish, then you will see them in a different light. And if you can do the same to them, they will see you in a different light. But you haven't found nobody who can do those things for you yet, consistently anyway, or to your liking.
He don't like it.
Uh-oh. I'm in trouble. My ex could do that.
Nah, you just don't like it.
You allow her to a certain extent.
No, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it when it happens.
But see, he
Like
will
what?
like it.
Wait, what do you mean? What don't I like?
You
Getting
don't
checked.
you don't like getting checked.
No.
No one likes getting
To some extent, I mean, it's not to me. Like again,
Yo, I got a messed up view of this. I'm the center of the universe in my relationship, and that's just what it is. Sorry.
Then
Toxic.
you don't want a relationship.
Sorry.
You want to be in a
so
relationship
we were
with
talking
yourself.
about this
No, I
actually
don't.
last night.
I don't.
So
Ain't nobody
I-
checking me.
I have
How you
a-
gonna check me?
that's a combative way of having a relationship. That's a combative view.
No, it's not. It's only combative if you challenge me.
Yeah, combative.
Don't
Like
challenge
you
me.
don't have 1,000. It's not a relationship if you're 1,000% dominant.
Yeah.
It's not a relationship.
I'm 90% dominant.
I
That's not a
think that
relationship.
maybe you should look into, DNS relationships,
What's DNS?
dom and sub relationship.
No, I'm not into this niche stuff.
That's not niche. A
It's-
lot of
that's
people
a
are
sex
into that.
thing.
It's not a
Nah,
sex
it's not.
thing.
It's a lifestyle.
It's actually a lifestyle thing if you want it to be.
What do you mean?
What?
There's some people who live dom sub dynamics and there's no sex involved. There's some people who do that and there's sex involved.
You mean like a regular relationship?
It's a regular relationship, yes, but there's someone who's always in a dominant role and someone who's always in a submissive role.
It could be that.
I don't think that you will enjoy that.
No, I don't think so either.
But you should explore it since it's something that you are talking about. This is basically what you're saying. Like, I'm always right.
No. I never say I'm always right. I'm saying that
what he sounds like.
I'm calling the shots, dog.
What he sounds like to me, he wants a gold digger.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Said, what do you call
a little bit.
What is that?
That's what you want. You want someone who's just there because you have money and who doesn't have any thoughts or opinions about what you do.
No, that's a caricature.
That's what you want.
So how do you expect to have a person and be in relationship, not necessarily in a relationship, but how do you expect to be in relationship with someone and they don't have any opinions about how you behave, how your behavior makes them feel, checking you on that, checking you on how you kind of like.
I only throw the flag when you say the word check. I care how they feel. I care what they think about.
This is not what you're saying,
I care about your feelings. No, but
this
I do
is
care
you're
about
saying that now, but what you said before doesn't align with that.
No, because I think that there is a jump from dominance to not giving a damn about anything.
No one said that. But
how
the thing that's why I'm saying it's not necessary, because in a dom sub relationship you have to really care about the subs.
You do.
Like that's really what it's about.
And I am with that.
But that's not what you're saying. You'd have to.
No. I see. What I'm doing is I'm overcompensating for the current state of affairs where this checking instance is coming into play, because that's
all right. So this is why I'm saying
we got to dead the check.
Let's stop saying check
me,
and let's say hold accountable.
No, but his view of relationships is combative and competitive instead of cooperative.
No, it's not competitive.
I don't look at her. It's not about if she says something to me, I know it's to try to better me and us. It's cooperative. We work together.
Do you have issues with trust? Do you think you have issues trusting people?
What do you mean?
Yes.
Like
trusting that they know something that I don't?
Yes.
Here's what it is, yo.
Yeah. Oh,
at the end of the day, his decision is better. So don't try to check my decision when it's better.
So his
Whether you believe it or not,
Kevo, aka Hustle
Bingo,
Sauce, who is Ryan's brother, to give context, said that the issue is Ryan feels like at the end of the day his decision is better than your decision because he knows more.
90% of the time.
But if you had enough conversation with that person about your insecurities and things that you may struggle with, or if they know you well enough to say like, "Oh, Ryan, you're a little bit out of line," you know.
But this is why.
Would you trust him?
This is why Nikita says no, he wouldn't.
Says,
this is why you say you don't really care. It's not even trust issues. This is why, because that's caring, right? Like to care about something is you have to.
Let me work
something.
that out. That's where I'm at. Let me discover
this
that.
This is not a good look for Hot Boy Ryan.
No, it is a good look.
No, it is a great look for Hot Boy Ryan.
No, I'm saying because that's not what most people want in a relationship.
No, I agree. What I'm looking for is
and this is why I'm saying to you,
what I'm looking for is not the majority opinion.
No, what you're looking for is you want a 1950s housewife.
Yep.
You want to make WandaVision but Ryan Vision.
Yeah.
You want to just make your own little world.
And guess what? There's someone out there.
Yeah, it's possible.
Who's okay with that?
But even if you did that, right?
The people that you probably are attracted to, the things that you find attractive, probably don't show up in a person who is going to be that 1950s housewife type.
Ain't no 10 going for that. They out on the next boat, bro.
Yes, they will. If you have enough leverage, they will go for it.
Leverage? Yeah. What do you mean by leverage?
Leverage.
What's leverage?
Just okay.
What's leverage?
Like, okay, so let's talk about it in the opposite.
No. Tell me what leverage is.
Leverage is I'm the motherfucking shit. And if you want to be
what
with me,
is the leverage?
then that's what it is.
If you're talking about a 10 girl,
I'm a 10.
They always have options.
Okay. I'm in the top 5% of income earners in the country.
Okay.
So
you want a gold digger? This is my point.
So
you want a gold digger?
You know, I'm not gonna say I'm in the top 5% of men yet, but shortly I will be in that type of category. So that if you're hot, you should be able to get something on the equal level.
Here's what you're again, and this is what we argued with before on your show on the second hour of Ryan Got the Bread podcast. I continue to try to tell you that while money has value, it is not the most valuable thing.
Kyle, it's just the easiest thing to talk about. That's not the only subject I'm saying.
What you just said, you equate. I said, what's the leverage, and you said I'm a top 5% earner. So you're talking about money.
That's the first thing I'm talking about, sure.
Yeah, but that's not everything.
That's not everything.
Okay, what else do we want to talk about?
All right, so here's...
Okay, throw out money.
I'll put it to you this way.
Let's rank me in other areas.
No, the same way that we agreed that if you're with a girl who's super attractive, but that's all she has, it gets boring. Guess what? Girls that are going after
okay, but money, I got more than that.
It's the same way.
Again, let's talk about these other categories.
If I'll tell you this. Relationships ain't gonna last long if you don't find the person you're with to have any value, unless that person is only there.
Let's get to these other characteristics.
Not even just his money. Like if this person's only there to just
I am a very
your ego.
Hold on. I'm a very stimulating individual. Okay. I think about interesting things. We have interesting dialogues. I think most people that are around me are run into things that they haven't thought about. It brings value to your life.
We're not saying that you're boring. What we're saying is,
what I'm trying to explain is, I said I'm top income earner, but I'm also saying that I bring other things to the table.
Okay,
right. But that's you. But what we're also saying is that if you want someone that is just there as an appendage, as a trophy.
No,
that is not what you're saying explicitly. Hold on. But what you're describing, that's what it is.
You guys disrespect the 1950s housewife, though.
Yes.
You guys disrespect that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
First of all, that's a harder
I'm not
job.
Disrespecting that.
That's a harder job.
I'm not disrespecting the people that live through it. I'm disrespecting that structure.
That's a harder thing to do than you think it is.
You're talking about the job of being a housewife?
And there's more value in it than people give it credit to. It's super hard to
be a housewife in the 50s. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about that structure is not how things should be structured.
Right. And also, do you think about how that makes a woman feel being in that environment? Because the women
safe and secure and taken care of,
No.
There's drawbacks to that environment as well. There's drawbacks to that environment.
Well, that's because Paul likes to get checked, so.
No, that's actually
don't. I like because I'm human, so sometimes I go off emotion, sometimes I go off impulse, sometimes I just am wrong. And a person that knows you know when you're going off impulse, know when you're going off emotion, and know when you're just wrong.
Right.
Trust them enough to value their opinion, and they know that you don't just say things for no reason. Like, yo,
I'm gonna keep it real.
She says you're always out of line, you're out of line, you're out of line, you're out of line all the time. It means nothing. But if she says that once every month, twice a month,
it's about trusting the partner. But I'm gonna say something to Ryan that I've said before. I haven't said in a while, but you have some sexist ideas, bro. Like in general, there's certain things, and we've talked about that, never on air, but some of the ideas that you hold,
What do you think is sexist about it?
I think it's more difficult for a woman to prove their value to you than a man, in terms of intellect or
because
life.
I value certain types of things. And I don't think that's sexist.
What are the things that you value?
Well, no. If you think that a woman can't have those things, that automatically, that assumption, if you think that it's less likely that a woman would have it.
Are women? Well, hold on. Wait. Are we going to say that women and men are the same exact thing?
They're human.
Wait. Women and men don't have separate characteristics?
There are some.
If you,
There are some.
there's studies that will. This is not like a theory. Women and men are different.
Okay.
Women generally care about people more than things. That has been proven over multiple studies.
Maybe men could learn a thing or two about that.
No. It's not about learning. It's that's what it is.
Again, this goes back to the nature versus nurture.
Okay, but the current state of society is that.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that make it better?
So men and women are different.
Yes.
And we are, whether it's nature
There are
or, hold on, wait, let me finish the point.
physiological
Wait, it's important. Let's be very specific here. It is, so we've gotten to the point where men and women, we can both acknowledge, are different. We could say why that is, maybe nature or nurture, but we would agree that men and women are different. We care about different things on the averages.
Yes.
Which, again, it's a dangerous territory to go to when we're talking about averages.
I don't think it's dangerous.
But what we're doing is trying to talk in generalizations, which obviously...
Generalizations are dangerous.
But generalizations are based... So if we're keeping it based in somewhat of a statistical analysis...
You can't do it.
Yes, you can.
No.
You definitely can.
Why?
Because you can do psychoanalysis on
Do you always
people.
go back to numbers when it comes to human interaction?
We're talking in a
So this is,
well, hold on.
this is
Can
what
I
I'm
answer the
saying.
question?
Go ahead.
I'm talking in a macro sense at this point. I'm not talking about me talking to you, right? That's a different thing. Me talking to you, your combination of characteristics is different.
Your generalizations, though, you also approach.
This is my point.
Well, you have
This
to.
is why I
So
said-
you would have to approach dating as the dating pool.
Wrong.
Right? Yes, you do.
This is where you're wrong.
They're individuals.
This is my whole point. This is why I said you're sexist. All of that can be true. I don't think.
Kyle, this is a ridiculous
dude
point.
and think that he's going to be logical. I don't look at a woman and think, well, she's going to be more emotional. I take that individual and see what they're doing.
Yes.
Now, if I'm dating someone, it's even more. I don't look
agree.
at the dating pool. I'm looking at who I am talking to.
When you're dating a specific person,
I look
you
at
would
that
analyze
person.
them objectively.
I analyze
yes.
that person without any. There's no other stimuli.
But-
I don't care about what the numbers said. I don't care about what any research has said. I'm looking at this
But-
person.
individual.
What I am saying is that if you are trying to decide what you want in life, the odds of getting that are important. And so what I'm saying is, like, if the pool exists or does it not exist?
Of what you want.
Yes.
Yes,
So
you
Kyle,
want-
here's the
you
thing.
don't even know what you
hold
want.
on. But what I'm saying is, hold on, wait. So what I'm saying is, are you
You're trying to jump in the pool. You don't even know how to swim.
like
you don't know what you want.
He don't even know which pool to jump
Right.
in right now.
this is all true. This is all true. This is all true. But when I'm trying to analyze that, is what someone or me or whatever, like, depersonalize it, if someone is looking for, you got to look at the pool, because if the pool only has 1% of people like that, finding that could be very difficult.
First of all,
But you're also.
I'm trying to address your sexism point, because you're
But
saying
but you're
these
not.
are sexist ideologies, but you haven't told me anything
You're
that I'm
talking
saying
about-
that's sexist.
You're
here's
1%,
what I'm-
but you're
Because we've already agreed that men and women are different.
Okay.
So me saying that a man, the average man,
What I was talking about was
thinks
something
differently and has certain characteristics
what I'm
that are
saying
different.
you said-
Hold on, a man that has
you
different
said
characteristics than a
you
woman is the same
value
thing.
certain types of thinking.
Yes.
The types
I
of
do.
thinking you value.
Me as an individual, I care
Okay,
about logic and
the
getting
types
things
of thinking
done.
you value, you think, come from men.
No. I
More
don't think that.
frequently.
It is. Kyle, I will pull up mad statistics that will prove this
go with
point.
The
Nah.
statistics won't prove anything.
Yes, they
Listen.
do.
What did they prove?
What do you mean?
Look, an ism, when I say sexism or sexist, a lot of times that creeps in because you're not aware of what the prejudice is. You're being prejudiced. You're prejudging women, thinking that they won't think.
Everyone
logically.
prejudges everything.
Well, this is a gift that I have. I actually don't. I take people.
Oh
have to
God, you're
assess.
the
You have to
most
assess.
woke man in the
I'm
world
not
here.
being woke. How do I know?
Outside of
How
all
do I
that.
know?
Here's
How
something
can you know?
here's something I could assume about women. They probably don't care that I was playing Apex Legends last night. In the majority.
What?
Majority.
How many women play Apex
Kyle,
Legends?
Wait. Here's the thing.
Comment.
Here's the thing.
Let us know.
Women don't game
Put
now.
it in the comments.
No. See, this
Put it in
this
the
is
comments
that,
if
this
you're
is that
playing
woke
Apex
bullshit.
Legends.
That's not woke.
Hold on. Listen. How many women play video games?
There's
what
a whole
percentage?
lot.
But not, yes, exactly. There's a whole
Millions
lot. But
and
what,
millions.
What percentage of women in America
Let's look it up.
play
Let's
video
Google
games?
how many women play video
How
games.
could you
I
know
bet
that?
you it's a small percentage.
I'm about to Google.
No,
right now.
what I'm doing is I'm creating a logical
This-
argument.
You
saying
are
that
trying to plug things into an algorithm that you're creating here. Like,
what I'm saying is you don't go up to, okay, so guys can go up to each other and be like, yo, did you watch the Lakers game?
In the United States, 41% of all gamers are female.
That's bullshit.
What the? Oh, now it's not. Now you don't want the numbers.
Where's
now
it
you don't
from?
want the numbers.
we
now you don't
looked
want
up the numbers.
It's
What's
bullshit.
the numbers? This is my point.
Kyle,
you
play
have this
Call.
it's
Kyle,
your idea.
No, it's not. This is bullshit.
your
Play
idea.
Call of Duty, and see who's on the mic. You never hear female
Just
voices.
because you don't hear them, you think they're not playing?
No,
they don't
not
want to
playing.
hear the sexist stuff y'all be saying on Call of Duty.
Oh my
like,
god!
are you out of your
Yo,
mind?
you're going
That's like
against
coming on
all-
Call of Duty and saying, "Yo, there's a dude on TikTok who goes on Call of Duty to see how fast he called a nigger." Like he just says, "Hey, I'm black, y'all," and somebody's gonna say it. Like, why? If a girl says that she's a girl,
Please, this is a ridiculous argument.
it's not
you're making.
ridiculous. You want the numbers. The number said 41% of all
please.
gamers are female. That's
It's not true.
How is
now
it
it's
not true?
Where are you?
Now
pulling,
it's not true.
Where are you pulling this from?
I googled it.
What's the source?
What do you want to? You want to use Firefox, Mozilla? What's their
Kyle,
browser?
you know that in your practical life that this is not true.
I actually, this is my point to you. In my practical life,
4
I
in 10
take
women are not
people-
playing Xbox, bro. Stop it.
I actually
How
think
do
that's
you
probably
know
true. What are you
that?
talking about?
It's
I
not
know a
true.
lot of women
Especially
gamers.
now that everybody's home.
It's not true.
I know a lot of women gamers.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Like, yo, but this is my point. My whole point is that you have this preconceived notion that girls don't play games. They don't think like this. This is what this data says. So this is what that's in your head. That's not how
No, it's
you
not.
should
Listen,
operate.
the
This
only
is
way
true.
that Ryan is going to dissolve this mode of thinking is to get out there and date people
But it's,
and experience people.
But
That
look at
anecdotal
this-
evidence
no, but this
has
is what
nothing
I'm
to do
saying.
with these statistics.
But this is what my point is, right? If you're going
But you're
into
not. You keep talking about statistics like
people
you
people
aren't
find what they're already
dating
looking
millions.
No, but Kyle made an accusation that I have sexist ideology,
You do.
and I am
for. And you just expressed it.
bringing data here to show you.
You said that there's not that many women
Because
that play
again,
basketball.
I don't know where you're getting this source from, but I will promise and tell you that men game more than women, and that is
yeah, they do. That if you said that, that's true.
okay. So what I'm saying is that using that prejudice when you're speaking to women is not sexist. It's smart.
That's dumb. How do you
No.
know? How do you know?
Like, all right, reverse. Let's reverse it. So, like,
Should have.
more guys watch sports more than women.
Correct.
But if somebody's really into sports and they meet a chick that really likes sports, then they want to.
Right.
So the same could be.
All right.
Yes,
No.
But
here's
but,
the
but
question.
You don't, but my point. Hold on, real quick.
Should a
because
girl
that's right.
assume you
Hold on,
game?
let's build off of that.
Should a girl just be like,
Hold
"Oh,
on.
he's a guy. He must be a gamer."
No, but
More guys are gamers.
all I'm trying to
all
say,
of them guys are gamers.
all
Yeah.
all I'm trying to say is you wouldn't lead with that until you know more about the person.
Here's how.
Or you could lead with nothing and just let the person
be a person.
be a person.
Yeah, how about that?
you
and
have
show
to say
you who
something.
they are.
You ask them, what do you
Talk
like?
about you. Ask them about them.
Yeah.
That's how you learn about
That's
the
how you
person.
learn.
Exactly.
Stop assuming things.
Okay.
You're gonna walk into the 41% of women. So maybe she doesn't game. Maybe she doesn't like sports.
Yes,
Maybe
true.
she
Come on.
doesn't.
That's not how we approach things, but like strategically, that's how you're gonna think.
What is the strategy if you aren't approaching a human as a human?
That's the best way to do it, bro. I'm trying
What
to
do
tell
you mean?
If you just talk to them like a person. Women are people. I don't like I've been saying this for years. Stop treating women like they're not people. Men,
How are you treating them
women
like they're not people?
people? You talk to them like you would talk to a person. You say, "What do you like? What is it you like to do? What do you think about this?
What are you interested
What
in?
are you interested in?" Here's what I'm interested
Obviously.
in.
What is your opinion on this?
You're making the obvious point.
What do you think about
I'm
this?
not making an obvious point
As if
because
I
guys
don't
don't
agree.
do that. I'm not saying whether or not you agree because we've had this conversation. But a lot of guys out there, they don't treat women like people. They're either intimidated or they think that women are some kind of there's something else.
They are something else.
They're not.
But it's usually like what I like.
They're something else.
They're not. Yo, this idea that women are something else is ridiculous.
Like a lot of guys be like, yo, like she don't like what I like, so I don't like it.
That's okay.
Right.
You don't have to like somebody that if you don't have similar interests. That's great.
Same exact locations, different places, but same type of environment, and expect to find something different.
But this is like going to the club every weekend and
To the same good club,
right.
around the corner,
And
where it's
coming
$2
out.
to get in a $2 drink. You gonna get $2 people and $2 drink people. That's what you're gonna get. Instead of going to New
And then
York
coming out and being like-
restaurant where the drinks maybe $25.
Exactly.
You
You're
ain't
going
gonna
to
get
the
them
club
$2 drinks,
every
$25
weekend.
drink place. But if you keep going to the
And then
$2,
you coming out and
maybe
being like,
you may find them one time in there.
ain't nobody in here for
You
me.
meeting them.
Ain't nobody in here for me.
So you gotta go different places to meet different people. If you go to the same places,
The
maybe
pool.
you might meet a ratchet hood girl that's gonna cuss you out and not talk to you. You don't know yet.
The pool.
You don't go to them places.
This is true.
You got Pauly G hype in here.
Pauly G hype.
You gotta find out all of it, man. You do.
That's why I'm telling you, you need to date people, date different people, try different things.
You know what my dad used to say? My dad used to have, and this is a crude old school reference. He used to say, how do you know what your favorite type of ice cream is until you tried all the flavors? Like here's what you're doing. You're trying to guess your favorite flavor without trying them. You can't do it.
Based on statistics
Based
and
on-
what
yeah,
everybody
based on-
else says.
Right. You have to try it yourself. You have to go out there and
Well, I'm
see.
gonna try them.
And the thing is that you might not even have to try everything.
Right. You might
just
one you
find,
like.
oh,
It's the one. It's
well,
the
up
one.
until this point, ain't nothing been hitting like this. Okay, all right, this is
You
where
know
we
what?
at.
But my problem and my malfunction is, even if I think it's the best thing ever, I'll be like, I gotta keep trying more.
Maybe you do.
Therapy, Ryan. That's the
Where we
only
at on time, Paul?
solution
No,
I
we're
have
like
for
2
you.
hours. In.
Dang.
Wrap it up, B.
Look what happens when you let Ryan get a seat on the show.
Yeah, don't bring me on.
Have
I'm
you
gonna be
dried
talking.
out now? A little liquor going.
Ryan was lit.
sober. He's
Ryan
a
was
little
lit.
litty a little bit earlier.
I was taking a nap until you guys brought me back on here.
So yeah, this has been an extended.
Yeah,
Super
this got a little
Obvious-
exciting. Bringing
obviously,
Ryan on.
Told you, bring the spice, baby.
Ryan got
bring
the bread.
controversy.
I don't know. So I don't know what this is gonna look like because you couldn't see Ryan, couldn't see the Manson Media team with Paul and Kevo and Jay back there. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, but if you we're gonna be distributing this to all of the podcast outlets. So if you're listening, hopefully you'll be able to hear everybody. We weren't planning on having this big good group room discussion, but I love everyone's input. It was fun. Hopefully you guys will stick around.
We gotta get desk mics for
We
everybody.
gotta get desk mics. We gotta get another camera in here.
Gotta get
we're
desk
still
mics over
building.
there
This
for producers.
is early in the Manson Media team. Big shout out to Elitism. If you can't see Ryan's hoodie, he got the Dream Junkie hoodie on. Shout out to the Skyns hat. We got some merch coming on the website soon. We're working on that.
If you're into this 1950s lifestyle, hit up Ryan
if you're a gold
Fagan
digger.
_ real estate.
If you're like a man with bread that drives a Tesla,
The boy said, I didn't drive here. Elon Musk drove me here.
that's what he
Autopilot."
said.
That's
That's
what
what
he
he
said.
said. If you're into that,
They might be
Ryan
into
Fagan Real Estate. Just look
Yeah.
him up
So my IG
on
is
IG.
My IG is IAMKINGRAM. I am Kingram, and
You look so confused.
Yeah, almost forgot my own name. And
My Instagram is Lanamra. That is LANOMRAH.
Yeah, and if you guys want to get some more of Lanamra's meditative thoughts, you could join her on Tuesdays.
Yes, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I guide meditation with the Nalaverse. That is thenalaverse.com. Nala, like Nala from The Lion King.
Spell it out for him.
TheNalaverse.com. And again, that's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 4 p.m. if you are on the West Coast. I do guided meditations, mostly grounding meditations, I like to call them. It helps you to feel more connected with your body. And I also like to focus on grief as well.
One day we're going to have to talk about that on here.
Yeah.
Talk about the grief work.
The grief work,
yeah.
But you should definitely check it out. And the Nolaverse is a women-owned, Black-owned, Black-centered as well space that has all these healing resources. There's Reiki,
Ryan got Reiki down.
yoga, meditation, sound healing, all that good stuff. And there are at least 2 classes every day. So whatever your schedule is, whatever your fancy is, just check it out and come on and get some good juicy healing,
Shout out to the Hustle Sauce, our first sponsor.
Should put it on the table.
We gotta get a bottle on the table one of these days. Bring the bottle, put it on the table. Right, he's trying to toss it to you. We about to get Hustle Sauce all over the studio. Oh, we caught it. Put it.
This is a new Hustle Sauce, huh?
Hold that up for this camera here.
The Verde sauce.
Yeah, Hustle Sauce.
I got to taste this one.
Shout out to the Hustle Sauce. That's Kevo's brand over there. You guys looking for some hot sauce, hit him up.
Crafted with the fiery passion of a hustler.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah. Follow us at Skyns Music.
Yes, on all your platforms. Wherever there's music that you listen to, follow us there.
Yep. Skyns, that's SKYNS.
Mm-hmm. Sounds keep your nature satisfied.
Yes. So that was a good episode. We got heavy.
Yeah.
Got long.
Had to cut. Whenever Ryan got the bread. Whenever Ryan got the bread comes on
Ryan
here.
Got the bread came in with the
He came in with the spicy Sunday second hour to Skyns podcast, like that alliteration.
I haven't done my taxes. Too turned
up. Yo, stop putting all these Drake captions in your stories too, bro.
That's my spirit animal, dog.
Oh my god.
Drake be saying stuff. I just feel like, oh, that's me. He think just like me. This is why. Yeah. He said he's in love with 2 10s.
Yeah. Stop listening to Drake.
At the same time.
Stop listening to Drake as your guide, your dating coach. Please don't listen to Drake as your dating coach.
Let me ask you this, and this will be the last question. When you listen to Drake music, does he sound happy?
Yeah, so remember I posted when he was talking about I don't celebrate none of these achievements no more because I've had them so long. I said, that's troubling.
Yeah.
You know what? But Drake also said, wait, Drake or Rick Ross said, I'm all for spiritual lifting, but I'm willing to die. Damn, I'm messing up the line.
You know what I say? You know what I say?
It's from Gold Roses.
Therapy.
Nah, I'm willing to die serious. He said, I'm all for spiritual lifting, but I'm willing to die serious.
Okay.
I'm willing to die serious.
Does that sound happy to you? Because
I want you to
be happy.
For me.
That don't sound happy. I want joy. And to be honest, I do think that Drake lives with joy, but he just knows that music sells.
I'm willing to die serious, dog.
I want to die happy. Happiness.
Therapy,
I want
therapy.
happiness. I want satisfaction.
It's not very appealing.
Therapy.
I want joy.
That's what I say. Therapy.
How is joy not appealing?
Told you I'm different.
I told you joy's not appealing. I told you I'm built different.
I am.
Oh my gosh, we could go on forever.
We're gonna have Ryan. Ryan will be a recurring guest for sure. Make sure you check out his podcast.
Don't have me on here. I feel like I'm
not all
being
the time.
Too present.
Exposed.
No, I feel like I'm talking too much.
We'll have you on here sometimes, and we'll make sure you're on camera because we didn't know we were bringing him on today.
We did not.
We
did not.
I was minding my own business.
We're still figuring out our format. You guys are here early. We're here for the journey. This is only episode 2.
Yeah.
And, we're going to continue to grow and figure this thing out.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Shout out to Basquiat back there.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, y'all. Skyns.
See you.